carpet. Just make it seem like it's spring outside. Window cleaning where you see through and everything shines. Commercial janitorial services specializing in final construction cleaning. Hey, the people that own this company, they are big construction people. They know what needs to be done. So if you would like it done the right way, call Todd Pope or Tommy Ferrari, the former Tiger quarterback, at 833-6773. 833-6773. It's Trinity. They're your cleaning solution.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis, WIVG-FM Tunica Memphis, and WPG-FLP Memphis. Flynn Broadcasting Stations. It's time for Sports Time with Wolo and Stats. The first hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here are your hosts, the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin, and Brett Stats Norsworthy.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome into Sports Time with Wolo and Stats. I am Austin Eldridge here with you today, filling in for Wolo. He will join us in a couple of hours or so. He is headed up to Philadelphia, where it is always sunny, as the Tigers are getting ready to take on Temple this weekend in what will be a pretty tough matchup for the Tigers, most likely. And we'll see how that goes tomorrow. Brett Norsworthy will also be joining us in a moment. He is in Columbia, Missouri, where the Ole Miss Rebels are getting ready to take on Missouri in what would be considered another, I think, a must-win game for Ole Miss if they want to keep the bowl hopes alive. And that will mark off Brett's final SEC stadium off of his list. A dream of mine. One day I will hope to have the same thing. This will be his final SEC stadium, if I'm not mistaken. He'll join us here in just a moment. Drew Barrett is in the house as well. He's producing the program for us. Always fun working with Drew. We've got a great show coming up for you today. Coming up at about 3:30, we'll talk with Bruce Marshall on all the football matchups coming up. At around 4 o'clock or so, Peter Edmiston. You hear him right here every morning from 7 to 10 on the Peter Edmiston Experience, featuring C.J. Hurd. He'll talk about NBA with us, maybe a little Grizzlies as well. And then at 4:30, as always on Fridays, it'll be Glenn Rogers Jr. talking high school football. At 5 o'clock, Rick Horrell will join us for the business of sports. Dave will join us a little after that if everything goes according to schedule, and Isaiah Thomas will also join us, and Dave will have a lot of information for you regarding an event that Isaiah is doing. And then coming up at 5:30, we'll have our Friday football forecast, followed up by Crunch Time to finish off the day. Well, Brett, it is always a pleasure to join you and to be a part of the show, and I know hopefully the weather is nicer in Columbia than it is here. It is not very nice here today, about 53 degrees and rainy here in the good old Mid-South. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well, Austin. It's football weather in Columbia, and you could feel it changing with just about every mile on the drive up. The big season-changing front blowing through, and car buffeted around. A lot of rain heading up, cleared about Sykeston or so. What about Cape Girardeau? And now football weather. First time all year it's really felt like this after the blast furnace we had most of September, really across the country. It may be cooler tomorrow night here in Columbia, Missouri, than it will be in Philly tomorrow morning for the Tigers and Temple. And you mentioned the prospect of Ole Miss winning. I won't say must win. Either this week or next at home would really be one they have to get if Ole Miss is still, and they are, desiring the 6 wins and to go to some bowl. You got to figure New Mexico State in that math, and then somewhere out of Mizzou, Texas A&M, and Mississippi State, the Rebels are going to have to win 2, and that's going to be a tall task to get 2 out of those 3. And I think tomorrow night in Columbia will maybe be the toughest of those 3. I can't explain Mizzou on opening day against Wyoming. I can't.
Yeah, I can't either. That's just one of those fluke matchups, and you mentioned winning 2 out of those 3 for Ole Miss because, yeah, as much of an Ole Miss fan as I am, as much as I would like to say I have confidence that they could, they're not beating Auburn on the road and they're not beating LSU at home. It's just not going to happen.
No, I didn't bring either one of those up for a reason.
Yeah, those might not be pretty, Brett.
But, Austin, I'm telling you, my car almost wouldn't let me make the northwest loop in South St. Louis to head toward I-70. My car was trying to make me head to downtown St. Louis, and check in at the Hilton at the ballpark and go to Game 1 tonight of the LCS, but I can't do it. All concentrated powers are on the weekend with the Rebels, and it's just not working out either tonight or obviously tomorrow afternoon for me to go. But Game 1 tonight in St. Louis between the Nationals and the Cardinals, has this hit you? Either Dave Martinez or Mike Schilt will be managing in the World Series.
You know, before the season started, or before the postseason started, Brett, we were talking about the Cardinals. And you asked me on this very show if I thought that the Cardinals were going to make it very far in the playoffs if they did hang on for the division. And I said, no, I don't think they're going to get past the first round. And they've already shocked me once. And then you couldn't have asked for a much better situation than the Dodgers doing another Dodger collapse, which is, boy, that's got to be frustrating for Dodger fans. And having a home field advantage to match up with Washington, a pretty even game tonight with Michaelis and with Anibal Sanchez on the mound.
Mm-hmm.
I like.
Sure is.
I don't want to get too far ahead of myself, and part of this is my heart saying this because I'm a Cardinals fan, and but the last time there was a 5-year gap between the Cardinals making NLCSs, well, that was 2006 to 2011, and those were a couple pretty good years.
Yes, that was World Championship years. Good point. And it feels like, look, every game, every odd number game in a 7-game series is big. The first one to draw first blood, Game 3, somebody has a chance to go up 2-1, and in Game 5, and of course Game 7. 7's nothing more important in all sports than the magic words of Game 7. But this one feels really important tonight because if the Nationals can win with Anibal Sanchez tonight, then they set up Scherzer, Corbin, Strasburg on regular rest. And that's the big three that everybody all summer talked about. But you don't want to run into them over a 10-day period. And now we see why. They came back from down 2-1 against the Dodgers. They were down in Game 5 and came back. And it leaves the Dodgers really reeling into a long winter of discontent for them. 106 wins and nothing to show for it.
Yeah, and Brett, I don't know if you've had this thought or not, or maybe I'm just crazy, but is it outside the realm of possibility that this may have been Clayton Kershaw's last year as a Dodger? I feel like they may try to get rid of him, maybe trade him, but then again, with this latest collapse, he may be losing value.
Not crazy. In those years, the Dodgers, it didn't elude. They directly accused the Cardinals of stealing pitches. Well, then everybody's stealing pitches from him in the postseason. That's one of the hardest things ever to explain, is just how very average he's been historically in the postseason.
It's insane.
And in the regular season, he's on his way, to Cooperstown, and should be. He could get dealt. It's big money, but they've got it if they want to eat it. I just think that they're probably really reeling in Dodger corporate offices from that exit, because all year, it looked like they were going to be the clear-cut National League representative, and now, as I said, either Mike Schilt or Davey Martinez. The Washington Nationals started 19-31. We had Bob Carpenter on with us during that stretch, and man, it was as Bluesville as you can get for Bob and for that team. They're thinking, we have to make another change with another manager. Just what can go right for them? It's been a lot of different managers for them. They tried Dusty, they tried Matt Williams, they tried Davey. They've tried a lot of different things in Washington, and now they look up and they're in their first LCS. And Drew did the research yesterday. Washington trying to appear in their first World Series game since 1933. The city of, they were an American League team and were the Senators then, and they haven't won a title since 24. Now they're 4 wins away from it and facing either the Astros and the Yankees. And the Astros and the Yankees on paper is a much better matchup.
Yeah.
It's glamour, it's power, it's speed, it's pitch, it's everything. It's the glamour of the pinstripes against the Astros that lost in the LCS last year, that won the World Series 2 years ago. But I think the National League matchup is just as much a coin flip.
Oh, absolutely. I think the National League matchup is extremely evenly matched. I don't think either team necessarily has a clear-cut advantage one way or the other. I predicted from the beginning of the season, and I've said it many times, it would be Astros-Dodgers World Series. Well, I'm wrong on half of that, but still got a chance on the other half. I think the Astros are still the best team in baseball. I think that is going to be an intriguing matchup with the powerful Yankees versus the very savvy hitting Astros. But anytime you can run out on any three given nights, Verlander, Cole, Greinke, that is just a formidable lineup. And even the Yankees, as good of a hitting team as they are, I like that Astros pitching matchup. I know that Greinke didn't necessarily have it in his game there in the DS, but I still think he's got that stuff that'll help him in the postseason and it'll help the Astros. And Garrett Cole, I mean, just absolutely phenomenal. 25 strikeouts and 1 earned run, the first pitcher in the history of baseball to do that in a postseason series. And just, I mean, if they could clone him, they'd win every game.
They sure would. I mean, he was just rolling. It looked like he had hardly even broken a serious sweat and could have just gone all night. They pulled him after 8. It felt like he could still be chunking it in there tonight for him. I saw the Astros in late July in St. Louis. The only time I went to St. Louis all year, and the Cardinals had won on Friday night. I wasn't at that game. And then the Saturday night game, that was Garrett Cole. They staked him to a 2-0 lead in the top of the first, and he cruised like he did last night.
Oh, yeah.
And then on Sunday they did the same thing, I think, for Wade Miley, and they made it look easy. The Cardinals couldn't even compete those 2 games against them. So if it's a World Series of old National League Central rivals, now with the Astros in the American League, Drew, that's going to be another tough one to explain to the kids these days, isn't it? The Astros used to be in the National League, and they were rivals with the Cardinals in the Central. Now they're in the American League. It's going to be another tough one.
It always is tough to explain to them youngins how back in the day y'all didn't know what a map or globes
back
were,
in my day.
or who was who.
And again, if it had been Brewers Astros in the World Series, I don't think I could have explained it.
Yeah, I don't know if I could still explain it. It's weird to me even, and I saw it happen. Just looking at the Astros, the old burnt orange, whatever color those were, jerseys, National League Central bottom feeders there for a little while, had a couple of playoff runs in them back in the day, and all of a sudden they're in the American League, and then all of a sudden they're World Series champions, and they're competing for championships every year, and they went from 100-loss teams to one of the best teams in baseball. It's just an insane turnaround, and I don't know exactly what all was responsible for it and just exactly how that run happened and the way changing leagues worked for them, worked out like that. But, man, oh, man, has it worked out.
It has worked out. Now, one thing that helped them, they did do a lot of smart things after a bunch of last-place finishes and great draft picks.
Oh, the farm system in Houston was incredible.
It still is. I mean, they have it really at the tip top. But Jeff Lunau's been that good. It's a Football Friday afternoon. We love talking college and high school and pro football on Fridays. Dave will join us at some point from Philly, where tomorrow the Tigers, and I know they're undefeated, and I know they're having a good year, but it still doesn't feel like the Tigers have put that perfect game together yet where everything really lines up. Offense, defense, special teams, running the ball, passing the ball, the good balance on offense, good against the pass and the rush on defense, solid in the special teams. Tomorrow would be an ideal time for it against Temple. Is Temple very improved, very respected, and will be at home tomorrow morning early. So we'll talk about that game when Dave joins us, as Austin said, about 5:10. We're looking forward to Hall of Famer Isaiah Thomas, Indiana Hoosier national champion, NBA champion with the Detroit Pistons. He's in town for an event this weekend. Excuse me, and he will visit with us around 5:10, 5:12, 5:15 or so. And at 5:30, we'll have our first National Bank and Trust Friday football forecast, as we will do all our picks. And there are some games this weekend. In the schedule this weekend, maybe the best of the year in college football.
Oh, yeah.
But in the preseason, Austin, I had a tough time. I mean, I looked at this weekend and these games. I looked at Mizzou and Ole Miss a long time in the preseason, and in the preseason I picked Missouri to win this game. I looked and really fretted over State going to Knoxville. I thought Tennessee would be a lot better than they are. And frankly, I really thought State would be a smidge better than they are. They have a better record right now than Tennessee, much better record. But I thought it would be a little bit better. But I think Mississippi State has really had a tough time, and it has hurt them battling through the suspensions on defense. And who's out this week? Who's out next week?
Right.
I know they're better. Whenever Willie Gay's in there, they're better.
Yeah, I didn't think Tennessee was going to be good. I did not think they were going to be this bad. But I picked Mississippi State to win this game to start the year. I thought Mississippi State was going to be better. It's Garrett Schrader seems to be the guy. As much as the talk and the hype was around Tommy Stevens, I will hand it to Joe Moorhead. Joe Moorhead has done what some coaches seem to really struggle to do. And that is, if you have your guy, your boy, whatever, the guy that you brought with you, you don't want to go against that guy. You don't want to take that guy out. That's your guy. You brought him for a reason. But Joe Moorhead has put Garrett Schrader in the game, and he's realized that Garrett Schrader is playing better than Tommy Stevens was. And to Joe Moorhead's credit, he's letting Schrader have the reins.
That's a good point, Austin, and that's tough to kind of move on from your guy. Look, we saw Chad Morris quickly have to move on from Ben Hicks, but he did, and Nick Starkel has provided a lift for Arkansas at that position. Going into these games this weekend, the October 12th games, well, we knew Tua would be starting it in the Alabama Texas A&M game, and we knew Kellen Mond would be starting, so no surprise there.
Right.
In the Arkansas-Kentucky game, nobody had these starting quarterbacks. LSU, Florida, nobody had Kyle Trask. Everybody had a healthy Joe Burrow. Georgia and South Carolina, a surprise with the starter for South Carolina because of injury there. In the Ole Miss-Missouri game, Kelly Bryant was injured last week late in the game. I thought on a really dirty hit by Troy.
Yeah,
and
me too. I agree with you 100%.
They say he's going to go. Tennessee and Mississippi State preseason, the game was hard to pick. Nobody picked these quarterbacks going against each other. And even
Ole Miss, John Rice Plumlee. I mean, Matt Corral was all the rage.
For sure. What does that say for State and Ole Miss that now looks like they're going to both have to go down the stretch of the year with freshmen, but freshmen they weren't, and new quarterbacks they weren't counting on opening day?
Well, like I mentioned with Joe Moorhead, I think it does say a little bit about the coaches that they are seeing who the better player is and are not afraid to go with the better player. For in Ole Miss's and really in Mississippi State's case, I think for both of those two teams, I think it's better for them. I think that they are playing better football with those quarterbacks. I think had they stuck with the other two guys, whether it be Tommy Stevens at State or Matt Corral when he got back healthy with Ole Miss, I think they'd be struggling. I think they were going to find themselves losing games that they would have won with the other guy. And for Ole Miss, we've already seen the difference that Plumlee can make. I'm hoping Rich Rodriguez will trust him to throw the ball a little bit more. I love his ability to create, but you got to throw the ball at some point. And I don't think they're going to go into Missouri and win throwing for 99 yards like they did against Vanderbilt. But
and I wonder when the last time Ole Miss won a SEC game throwing for 99 yards.
Yeah, I mean, you just don't see that, especially in this day and age of college football and really the NFL nowadays. Just throw. Not much of a run game unless you're Wisconsin with Jonathan Taylor. But, yeah, I think for those two teams in particular, and even for Florida with Kyle Trask, all three of those teams, unexpected quarterbacks, unexpected results, but positive unexpected results.
So out of 14 teams, we're at about 21, 22 different starting quarterbacks this year. That's a big number. I am in Columbia getting set for Ole Miss and Mizzou tomorrow night. Kickoff's at 6. We come on the air with pregame alongside Richard Cross. Pregame starts tomorrow afternoon on these stations at 4 o'clock. Dave will join us about 5:10, 5:15 or so from Philly, where he is there as the voice of the Tigers. Austin, he is in our Family Leisure studio in Memphis.
And I will let you know that I am in the Family Leisure Studios in Memphis, where family and fun come together. Factory Direct Pool Table and Spa Sale is happening right now. Free installation on all in-stock pool tables. Free playing package, free choice of felt. I mean, that's a lot of frees, people. That's a good deal. Pool tables as low as $12.99 rather. Additional discounts on all in-stock spas. Plenty in stock and ready to ship. Save 20, 30, and 40% off spa accessories. Swim spa starting at just $99.99. That is a lot of free and a lot of good deals. You don't want to miss it. Family Leisure, 2120 Witten Road, just north of I-40. Family Leisure, where family and fun come together.
Bruce Marshall from the Gold Sheet at the bottom of this hour on all the games from the Vegas angle. He will visit with us at 3:30 and pick all the college games, local and some national games. Great weekend, USC Notre Dame weekend, Red River rivalry weekend, some really fantastic slate of games for the weekend, and some pro games on Sunday. I think it's the best weekend of the year
no doubt.
so far for the schedule in the NFL, and it starts bright and early from Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Nothing says the NFL like Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, bright and early at 8:30 on Sunday morning. So we will hear from Bruce on all those games. I want to let you know about the title sponsor of this hour. It's Lexus of Memphis, 2600 Ridgeway, and online at lexusofmemphis.com. Give them a call at 362-8833. Lexus of Memphis offering the Golden Opportunity Fall Sales Event. Great offers on all 2020 models and special lease options. If you've ever thought I'd look great in the Lexus, well, guess what? You will. And Lexus of Memphis wants to make sure you are in one of their beautiful Lexus cars. Drive in luxury and confidence knowing that every new Lexus comes with complimentary first and second maintenance services. Stop by today at Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and put yourself in the driver's seat of an all-new 2020 flagship LS500, a few remaining 2019s, and you will be looking and driving great. Lexus of Memphis, the highest standards in the industry. When you purchase a Lexus, you get top-of-the-line engineering and design, and that makes for the luxury driving experience. Online at lexusofmemphis.com, 901-362-8833. Experience amazing at Lexus of Memphis.
Top story of the day.
Austin, you first.
All right, Brett. Well, this one is kind of an interesting top story of the day. Did you know that since 2008, ESPN's Football Power Index has assigned a matchup quality score for every game each week in advance on a 0 to 100 scale? Take a guess on the Redskins-Dolphins game rating that has come out ahead of this week's matchup.
With 100 being the peak entry?
100 being the high, yes.
2.
0.0. It is the lowest in history of the rating.
Lutarski. A 0.0 grade point.
0.0 Dolphins-Redskins quality matchup rating. That is, that tells you all I need to know about the Tank Bowl.
Yeah, and I tweeted out a picture of it. I don't know if you saw it, but at the Ole Miss-Alabama game, the Miami Dolphins scout, and he didn't have a single note one. He didn't bring a notebook to the stadium with him. I promise you. He didn't have a briefcase, nothing. And
he knows who he wants.
I said, I think they know who they want.
The old tank for Tua is in full effect.
Yeah, it was no need to write down, Tua really looks good moving to his left. They know that. My top story, baseball's Final Four set, and that ALCS should be a bloodletting. That's the big boys. While the winner of St. Louis and Washington await the winner of the Yankees and the Astros. Game 1 of the National League NLCS tonight, downtown St. Louis, Cardinals and the Nationals. It feels like the winner of that game tonight can really, really, really take not control, but have that first blood, kind of in match play golf. You get that first point, and then tomorrow night, Game 1, deep in the heart of Texas. Now, don't have to worry about any weather down in Houston with the retractable roof and the good weather they have. What a sports day tomorrow in the state of Texas. Red River Shootout in Dallas, A&M Bama in College Station, and Game 1 of the ALCS.
All big matchups, too. I mean, huge matchups.
Not top story of the day.
Well, my not top story of the day is the NBA's latest move in allowing no media availability for the rest of this China fiasco, debacle, whatever you want to call it. It has been a very bad look and a black look on the NBA, on the NBA's coaches and players. The whole situation. I don't want to get too much into it here on the show, but it has just been a rough one, and I'm a little bit disappointed in what I've seen out of the NBA, and this is just the latest in the line so far.
Yeah, this was as about a bad a week as the NBA has had in a long, long time. Probably the worst week for Adam Silver. We'll visit about that and a lot of NBA issues with Peter Edmonston at 4 o'clock. My top story, preseason, this was going to be the official entry onto the big boy stage for Texas A&M. Remember all that hype at SEC Media Days and the magazines and the summertime love? Instead, it more resembles the same old A&M. I know it's just year 2 for Jimbo Fisher, and I know he's building something. But this was supposed to be the big weekend.
Oh, yeah.
Jimbo emergence, and it's not. Everybody needs to slow down on the coming A&M tsunami. I think they're going to be good. But as I said all summer, every time kind of people were a little bit out in front on the A&M hype train, I've lived through a couple of A&M hype trains in my life. Emory Ballard, Jackie Sherrill, R.C. Slocum, Mike Sherman, Kevin Sumlin, Johnny Manziel, and it usually ends up kind of looking like this, 17-point underdog at home to Alabama. Austin Eldridge, indeed, is in our Family Leisure studio back in Memphis. I'm in Columbia. When we come back, Bruce Marshall from the Goal Sheet. You're listening to Sports Time with Wolo and Stats on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 96.1, and 87.7.
Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy get you through the midday with Sports 56 Middays. Delivered by FedEx. Weekdays from 10 till 1 on Sports 56, 96.1, and 87.7.
They're doing it again at Family Leisure. This time it's a factory direct pool table. Oh, and some more of the spas on sale. Free installation on all in-stock pool tables. Free play-in package. Free choice of felt. Pool tables as low, listen, $12.99. Additional discounts on all those in-stock spas. Plenty in stock ready to ship. 20, 30, maybe even 40% off spa accessories. And swim spas starting at $9,999. Get to I-40 and Whidden Road. There's always something good at Family Leisure.
If you need glass replaced, there's only one name you need to know: Ben Swinger Glass, the largest full-service glass company in the U.S. They've been an industry leader for over 125 years. For all your residential, commercial, or auto glass needs, Ben Swinger Glass is the name you need to know. 24-hour emergency service for all commercial customers, plus a nationwide warranty on all professionally installed glass. Visit Ben Swinger Glass in Midtown, located at 340 South Hollywood, across from the Liberty Bowl. Visit their website, benswingerglass.com. Ben Swinger Glass.
Upgrade your commute with Audible. Get 100% ad-free listening anytime, anywhere with the Audible app. Be inspired by Mel Robbins' Take Control of Your Life, Malcolm Gladwell's Talking to Strangers, and Rachel Hollis's Girl Stop Apologizing. Or listen to Stephen King's latest thriller, The Institute, on your commute. Use the app to hear an amazing story or learn something new, and let Audible give you the edge. Start a free 30-day Audible trial today, and your first audiobook is on us. Visit audible.com.
Williams Equipment Supply, your Bobcat loader and excavator dealer, stocks the widest range of Bobcat attachments such as augers, hydraulic breakers, angle brooms, sweepers, brush cat rotary cutters, hydraulic clamps, forestry cutters, pallet forks, grapples, land planes, planers, plate compactors, sod layers, soil conditioners, tillers, trenchers, and more.
This is Sam Watson, your Memphis area Bobcat specialist. Whether you're in the construction industry or ag, call me at 901-326-6429.
Got something you want to get off your chest?
You better have a backup plan.
Want to join the conversation?
Someone needs to tell him he has to grow up.
Join us on the First Bank phone lines at 360-8255 or the First Bank text line at 67129. Now, back to Sports Time with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brett Norsworthy.
Welcome back into Sports Time with Wolo and Stats. Minus Wolo for a little while. Austin Eldridge is here with you in the Family Leisure Studios in Memphis on this brisk, wet day here in the Mid-South. Brett Norsworthy joining us from Columbia, Missouri. We're going to be joined momentarily by one of our favorite guests here on the program, Bruce Marshall. And Brett, am I correct in assuming, or not assuming, but I believe you told me this is your final SEC stadium, correct?
This is it, the final frontier for me. I'd never been to Columbia. I'd never been to college football in the state of Missouri. I'd been to pro football in St. Louis many, many times. So this will be the final one for me out of the 14 now. I'm sure we're due for a round of expansion in a few years and maybe go somewhere where I've never been, Virginia, Charlottesville, the University of Virginia. That'd be a good place, wouldn't it?
It sure would. It would be a fantastic place. And speaking of going to fantastic places and fantastic college football games, we are joined now by one of our favorite people here on the program, and that is Bruce Marshall. You can follow him on Twitter at Bruce A. Marshall and thegoldsheet.com. Bruce, hello, sir. How are you?
Hey, Austin. Pretty good, man. Hey, Brett.
Hey, Bruce, how are you? This is a great schedule this weekend. Last weekend, Bruce, I can't stand this word. I'm not much for the B word. I'm not much for boring. But last week in college football, it was a little lacking. I'll just use the L word. It was a little lacking. This weekend, it does not. This is one of the weekends that made college football famous.
It is, Brett. You know, when I wrote about the cover story, some rivalries, plus some other really good games. I mean, LSU, USC the same weekend. A lot of history there. I wrote about a couple of one of my retrospective pieces in the Gold Sheet and some of the big games in those series that we remember in our 63 years with the Gold Sheet. The 1963 Texas-Oklahoma 1-2 battle in that Red River rivalry that's called the shootout back in those days. And that was Texas' 1963 national title game, which I wrote a big thing about in the summer and I think has been really overlooked by a lot of college historians. And USC Notre Dame 73, another team kind of overlooked, a national title winner at Notre Dame, and that game featured Eric Pennick's 85-yard TD run. I've been telling everybody this week, go on YouTube and call up that one and listen to the call Chris Schenkel made on ABC and Lindsey Nelson on the C.T. Chesley Notre Dame broadcast there, telecast. Compare them both. Take your pick. They're both great, and you'll get a chill up your spine watching Pennick's run in 73.
I can tell you now, Bruce, I'm going to side with anything Lindsey Nelson called because I don't think it was anything better than when he would say, good afternoon and welcome to the Cotton Bowl. I'm Lindsey Nelson. Let's start with the Cotton Bowl tomorrow. OU in Texas, Oklahoma undefeated, 5-0, Texas 4-1. Texas won this game last year. OU got them back in the Big 12 championship game. Oklahoma's a 10-point favorite. What do you say at the Gold Sheet?
Brett, if I had $1 for every time I've mentioned Tom Herman as a dog the last couple of years when Texas gets points, I could probably buy some of that Silicon Valley real estate. But there's a good reason because Herman usually covers when he gets points. He's 13-3 as a dog with Texas and Houston since 2015. And, he barely missed that game against LSU back in early September. But, darn, they were close there in that one. And, the last 6 regular season meetings between these two, Texas has covered, and they've won some of those, and that includes Charlie Strong, Mack, and Tom Herman. Now, they didn't get him in the Big 12 title game, but that was a lot closer than the score. Texas had a chance to win that game. I'm going to take Texas plus the points here. Listen, Oklahoma, I know the Jalen Hurts story. It's going great. Heisman Trophy stats, but he's padding those against South Dakota and UCLA and Kansas. So this is the first big boy team that Oklahoma's played this year. And Texas had, they got some injury problems in the secondary, and it's been a little shaky back there for them. But I think Ellinger can trade points all the way here. 38-34. Oklahoma will take the points. This is probably just round 1 of round 2 between these two. I bet they get together in December for the Big 12.
It feels like it. It feels like it, Bruce. So you say OU wins, but Texas with the points. I want to let our listeners know this year in college football, on Fridays doing picks, we just asked Bruce randomly about mostly the feature games and the local teams. He's 21-16 on college football and 11-1 on the NFL for a smooth running 32-17 overall. We'll take that.
Look at that record, Bruce. You are killing it this year.
Well, I didn't even realize that. I should bet my own games, maybe.
Well, Bruce, one of those other historic matchups you mentioned a moment ago, and there's just something about this game. I don't know if I can really put my finger on it, but Notre Dame and USC, just something about this game, something about those helmets when they come on the field together, the gold Notre Dame, the classic USC helmets, something about this game that really gets me excited. Notre Dame, a 10.5-point favorite right now, and this is one that I've heard a lot of people saying might be the trap game, might be the slip-up game, might be where we see Notre Dame, might not be what we think they are. This one's been tough for me. I like Notre Dame to win the game. I don't know if they're going to cover. What say you in the Gold Sheet about this one?
Kind of thought the same way, Austin. Speaking about SC, by the way, I mean, they're being about as discreet with their intentions with Clay Helton as the House Intelligence Committee is with Trump. I mean, you know what they're doing here. You know what's going on here. And, but SC is kind of circling the wagons for Clay. They haven't not shown up. I mean, they got beat a couple times. It wasn't for lack of effort. They've had a week off after the Washington game, which they should have been closer than that score. Here's the interesting point about this one. It was in the game last year in November at the Coliseum when Clay decided after that game to go full Texas Tech, and that was because in the Notre Dame game last year, he went to a shorter, up-tempo, short passing game, up-tempo with J.T. Daniels, and he had pretty good success moving the ball, and that convinced Clay to go whole hog with it this year. Now, they have got a lot of wideouts. Slovis, the early season starter, or at least the second starter this year, who I think maybe was their best quarterback anyway. He's back in there after missing the last game up at Washington. And those wideouts can do something. We'll see about Notre Dame. Notre Dame might be able to stretch this margin. I think the Irish win, but maybe not cover. 34-27 Notre Dame. Who knows? This might be Clay's last game. But they're playing hard for him, and that's a dangerous underdog when you get that combo.
So you like USC plus the points, but Notre Dame to win the game, and boy, that's right around the line. So you're going to take the 11.5 and the Trojans. I love that this game, when it's at Notre Dame, it's the October game, the odd number year game. When it's in Los Angeles, it's the Thanksgiving weekend, the great weekend of college football. In the even-numbered years, I love this rivalry, just as you mentioned, Austin. All right, the Tigers, the hometown team, tomorrow morning, bright and early, one of the first games today, 11 o'clock Central kick. That'll be a 9 o'clock kick for the people in the sports books in Vegas. I'm seeing 4.5. This started at 6. It's worked. It's toggled around a little bit. Tigers now listed at 4.5 against the 4-1 Temple Owls, Bruce.
Temple's a pretty live dog here, Brett. And maybe Memphis goes up to the link and does it, but Temple has shown it can do some things. This is one of the top pass defenses in the country. They rank third, so Brady White might have a little bit of problem this week. Temple is pretty well balanced offensively. Russo has been making better decisions. He finally didn't throw a pick last week in the game against East Carolina. Their running back combo of Davis and Gardner, pretty darn good for Temple. This is going to be Memphis' toughest test. Temple is no team to fool around with. They beat Maryland up there a couple of weeks ago, and we think they might do it again. Updated score forecast 27-23 Temple. So another. By the way, the AAC is better than the Pac-12 this year. I'll say flat out. And there's a lot of good teams in this league, and these are two of them. Maybe the AAC winner should be in the New Year's bowl mix there as a guaranteed spot, but this one's going to be close. We just lean to the Temple side.
Oh, how
Temple
about that?
Straight up according to the goal sheet, Austin.
Well, Bruce, Brett right now is actually sitting in Columbia, Missouri, getting ready for my Ole Miss Rebels to head up there to take on the Tigers, and my Rebels are a 12.5-point dog right now, and it's been a really weird year watching Ole Miss, Bruce, with the quarterback change and his coming out party kind of at Alabama, making a better showing than people thought, and then getting the nice win over Vanderbilt last week. But Missouri's got a physical defense. They play well. Kelly Bryant, of course, we all know how good he is. And this is one that is a tough one. And Ole Miss, me and Brett were talking about this earlier, out of Missouri, Texas A&M, and Mississippi State, they need to win two of those along with New Mexico State to really keep the bowl hopes alive, because they're not going to beat Auburn or LSU in all likelihood. I want to say that Ole Miss can cover the spread, maybe even pull an upset here. I like how their defense has been playing, but do they have the offense to go into Missouri and win on what might be a frigid day tomorrow?
Well, yeah, it might be cold up there, and it will be, I think, in Columbia. We made Ole Miss a featured late telephone service pick tomorrow plus the points. I'm on board right now because they are showing improvement. They're one of those teams at Stanford. I was at the Stanford game last week, and you could tell they're getting better. You just see it with Ole Miss. They're getting better. Rich Rod's offense is starting to click. It looks like Plumlee might be the better fit there at quarterback. He looked like Khalil Tate last week running the offense, and all those other guys running for over 100 yards. We know Coach Mack's defense is improved from over a year ago significantly. And Missouri, listen, Kelly Bryant's going to play, but he was on crutches at the end of the game last week. I think he's going to play. But he might not be at 100%. He was on crutches at the end of the Troy game. And I think Ole Miss, this is a team on the upswing here, and you're getting some points. And Missouri, you're asking them to win this game by 2 touchdowns. I don't think they can do it. 28-23 Mizzou. So we think probably the Tigers win. Here's another. We've got a lot of these dogs in the SEC this week. But here's maybe my favorite dog of all in the loop with Ole Miss tomorrow.
Wow, the favorite dog of all, 28-23. Mizzou wins the game, but Ole Miss plus the 12.5. Let's go to those SEC games. And the only man to mention the backup quarterback at Kentucky at SEC Media Days in the big ballroom, and now he's the starter. It's too bad about Terry Wilson. I think Mark Stoops was going to have another good team with him. Now tomorrow, 6:30, Arkansas and Kentucky, crossroads game for these two teams, and the next one the same thing, State and Tennessee. But first, Arkansas getting 7 against Kentucky in Lexington, Bruce.
Yeah, and Mark Stoops might have to give John Calipari a call to borrow a point guard to play quarterback because Smith's going to, I think he's going to be in there tomorrow, but he got hurt. He got knocked out of the last game. And Bowden, the former wide receiver, had to take over at quarterback. So they're having some trouble, and the offense wasn't really humming before they had to go to the third stringer last week. So this is going to be a little tricky maybe. And if Smith is in there and he can throw the ball around, maybe Kentucky can make something happen. But it's been a tough slog for them since Wilson went out. Arkansas, just a caution here. I know they played A&M really good, but they also played A&M tough last year, and the season fell apart after that. They have yet to cover a point spread as a true visitor for Chad Morris, 0-5, and it's 6 straight dating at the end of the Bielema regime. So it's kind of two negatives here. We took the points again, 21-19 Kentucky. We think Arkansas plus is probably the way to look, and maybe even an under the total tomorrow. Kentucky's defense is still pretty formidable, and I could see this being kind of a slugfest in Lexington.
Well,
Bruce,
so
an underdog Saturday, okay, up to Rocky Top, Mississippi State and Tennessee. Both teams needing a win. Tennessee probably more so than anybody, but State with real bowl aspirations. Tennessee not as much, Bruce.
You're right, and they switched their quarterbacks here tomorrow, and it's not been an easy go here for Jeremy Pruitt. They were playing Georgia tougher than that score indicated last week. Maybe the switch to core. I was never a big Guarantano fan, so maybe this will work. I think they got a shot to hang in there. I've been a little disappointed in Mississippi State, and maybe we shouldn't be surprised the defense is down. They lost all those guys to the NFL. They're giving up more than twice as many points as they did last year, almost 30 per game. They've had to juggle some quarterbacks around. Still not sure about Stevens' status. They have to go back to Schrader. The Kansas State loss is looking worse now in retrospect, and certainly they didn't show up against Auburn 2 weeks ago either. So they're a harder sell for us than Tennessee is. 27-26 to Mississippi State. Here we go again with another dog in the SEC. I'm a little scared whenever we do that, but that seems to be the theme of this weekend for us.
Dog Day afternoon, and that's apropos with these two teams, with the Mississippi State Bulldogs and Smokey the Blue Tick Hound on the sideline. But you take Smokey plus the points, but Mississippi State winning the game, that's correct?
That's it.
Okay.
Well, Bruce, last college game for me real quickly, and I may break the streak of the dogs here, the underdogs, that is. South Carolina going into Georgia, they're a 23.5-point underdog. I don't know why I'm feeling weird about this game because I know I shouldn't. Georgia is a really good football team. South Carolina always seems to have that one game in them where they can play a team they shouldn't play close. I don't know if it's this one. Is it this week, or does Georgia run away with this one?
They certainly could, Austin. But, I don't know that they've played, 60 really good minutes, except maybe the Arkansas State game. They were struggling for a while last week. And Will Muschamp he's covered some point spreads in the past. This is our least favorite of the dogs, but I would say that you got to respect Muschamp. He's 6-1. His last 7 as a road dog, and 2-0 versus top 10 teams in that string versus the points. And Helinski is not all that bad. So bigger games up coming for Georgia. There's a slug of points. 41-20 Georgia, our score forecast. So it's a little tighter.
So South Carolina squeaks in to cover.
Yeah, squeaks in to cover. Yeah.
How about that?
Boy, it is a dog weekend. Just take a flyer with a $5 parlay and make it about a 6-teamer and take all these SEC dogs. One more real quick, Bruce, and then we got to get to your 2 favorite NFL games. We got to get in hurry up, no huddle offense here as well. Give us real quickly Florida and LSU. Florida going down to Baton Rouge.
Well, Joe Burrow is going to see pressure from the edge from his Todd Grantham defense like he hasn't seen this year. That'll keep Florida close. Dan Mullen, 17-8, last 25 as a dog. 34-27 LSU. Another dog, though, picked for Florida. In the
How about that?
Wow.
All kinds of underdogs this weekend.
Man, it is a ton of them. Just let it ride with the dogs all weekend. Your two favorite NFL games, Bruce?
I'll give you one college favorite, Central Michigan against New Mexico State. Go Central Michigan. NFL favorite here, Denver. The weather's going to clear out of there. I think they're going to beat Tennessee. Denver's not out of this thing yet. The defense is okay, and the offense, Mike Munchak's got that offensive line playing a lot better. They will beat Tennessee. And how about this? I'm going to take Cincinnati plus all the points at Baltimore. I know they're 0-5, but the Ravens haven't really looked that great since the Miami opener. I'll take the Bengals. They've beaten them 8 out of 11 with Andy Dalton. He knows how to beat these guys, so let's take the Bengals plus all the points on Sunday.
How about that?
And tell our listeners how they can access more information from the Gold Sheet.
Thanks, Brett. Check us out online, goldsheet.com. We've got this week's games, college and NFL. My story about the old Oklahoma, Texas, and Notre Dame SC games. Every Monday, new Gold Sheet comes out every Monday. Goldsheet.com, my picks there. Also, VegasInsider.com, and Twitter at Bruce A. Marshall.
Bruce, good luck to you, and have a great weekend, and we appreciate it very much, your time with us every Friday. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Bruce.
Thank you, guys.
You got it. Bruce Marshall. Drew Barrett, would you like to comment on Bruce picking the Temple Owls to win straight up and him going against your Ravens with the Bengals? Would you like to comment, sir?
Boy, he just
it sounds like he just had a personal vendetta against me this week. But I don't. Obviously, I don't agree with the University of Memphis. I think the Tigers are going to cover and hopefully cover easy. Now, what he said about Baltimore it's not untrue. We really haven't looked that great. The quote unquote best defense in the NFL that normally comes out of Baltimore just hasn't looked that great this year. And, I think last week Lamar Jackson kind of ran out of magic, barely squeaked by a hurting Pittsburgh. So hopefully they can turn it around. I really don't blame him for taking the points. But straight up, that's a little different.
Boy, when he was speaking, I'm thinking, boy, he is after Drew this weekend. Look, I've talked all year about Harry's, and when I shave with Harry's, and you should too. The ancient Greeks, they didn't need flex balls or heated handles, and neither do you. That's why Harry's doesn't add gimmicky features to their razors. They focus on the qualities that actually matter for a close, comfortable shave, and they never upcharge you. Get a 5-blade razor, weighted handle, shave gel, and travel cover, all for just $3 plus free shipping. Just use offer code STATS at harrys.com. I love the close shave, love the low price, I love that easy glide. And it's that close shave every single time. Harry's is a return to the essential quality, durable blades at a fair price, just $2 per blade to keep the prices low. They cut out the middleman. They own a world-class blade factory in Germany that's been making some of the best razor blades for almost 100 years. And Harry's is a brand you can be really proud of. 1% of sales are donated to organizations that provide access to mental health care for men, and there's no risk to you for trying them out. If you don't love your shave, just let them know, and you'll get a full refund. Harry's has an amazing offer for listeners of our show. New customers get $5 off a trial set from Harry's with code STATS at harrys.com. That means you get a 5-blade razor, weighted handle, foaming shave gel, and travel cover, all for just $3 plus free shipping when you use code STATS at harrys.com. When I shave with Harry's, and every time I pack that travel cover and the foaming shave gel and the weighted handle. I always travel with Harry's, and I always shave with Harry's. Go to harrys.com today. Use code STATS at checkout to claim your offer. When we come back, we wrap up hour number 1. Austin in our Family Leisure studio, Drew as well. Dave joins us from Philly about 5:15. Hall of Famer Isaiah Thomas with us about 5:15 as well. I'm in Columbia, and you're listening to Sports Time with Wolo and Stats on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 96.1, and 87.7.
Search Sports 56 on Facebook and give us a like. And follow us on Twitter at Sports 56 WHBQ.
Hi, this is John Conway with Conway Services. Did you pay a big repair bill on your existing heating and air conditioning system this year? Is your energy-guzzling heating and air conditioning system on its last leg and you think it's worth nothing? Good news, it's buyback days at Conway Services. We'll buy back your repair bill this year up to $1,500 toward the purchase of select Carrier Infinity systems. That's right, we'll buy back your repair bill up to $1,500, even if we didn't do the repair. Just show us your repair receipt from any company and we'll buy your repair back. If you didn't have a repair bill this year, we'll give you up to $1,500 trade-in on that old energy-guzzling system toward the purchase of select Carrier Infinity systems. When air conditioners get old and inefficient, the cost of repairs and high utility costs could almost pay for a new system. So call Conway Services, the Mid-South's premier heating, cooling, plumbing, and electric service company at 384-3511. And the first 30 callers with a 10-year-old heating and air conditioning system will come out and inspect it absolutely free.
Call 384-3511. Conway Services. Call Conway today.
Welcome back to Amazon Prime One-Day Delivery Trivia. Now to the next question. If Adam can get a chainsaw in 1 day with Amazon Prime One-Day Delivery, and Sharon can get a leaf blower in 1 day with One-Day Delivery, what are the odds their neighbor will order noise-canceling headphones with Amazon Prime One-Day Delivery? Yes, Sarah.
Pretty good?
Correct. Introducing One-Day Delivery from Amazon Prime. Order from millions of items. Peace and quiet delivered.
Tee it up at Edwin Watts Golf Shops with the new fall arrivals from Mizuno. Discover layers of feel with the new MP20 range. The MP20 is the ultimate muscle back. The MP20 MMC uses multi-material construction for legendary feel and performance. And the MP20 HMB is a playable set of hollow, tungsten-enhanced irons for many skill levels. Let us help you get custom fit for free today. Edwin Watts Golf Shops, home of the 90-day, 100% satisfaction guarantee.
Hi, this is Troy Five Ash, owner of Five Ash Roofing. As most of you know, I don't have a history of bragging or boasting that Five Ash Roofing is the best roofer in the Memphis area, but did you know we are the only diamond-level roofing professional in the area? We are one of very few local roofing companies that have been in business for 20 years. We've never had a justified claim against us. We are locally owned and family operated. Our labor warranties are for the life of the shingles. We're experts in insurance claim. We do residential and commercial work. We are the official roofer of the University of Memphis Athletic Department and a proud member of the Tigers home team. We support local youth sports and St. Jude's. We have worked with churches and veteran services to help those in need by providing services at a deep discount or even for free. We are currently working with Young Life to give them a free roof on the historic log cabin in Germantown. Five Ash Roofing. Fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Five Ash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
Now, back to Sports Time with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
We like to party.
Well, the National League Championship Series is getting underway tonight in St. Louis at about 7:08 or so. Miles Michaelis going for the Cardinals, facing off against Anibal Sanchez for the Washington Nationals, and it's going to be a series that I think some did not expect, myself included, as I expected to see some Dodger blue there at the very least, but the Nationals took care of business there. And Brett Norsworthy, I'm somewhat jealous of where you are because I would love to be in Columbia for the Ole Miss game.
Come on up.
But at
We
the
got
same
room for you.
At the same time, if I was where you are, I would be itching so badly to go down to St. Louis and watch the Cardinals game. So it'd be a predicament for sure.
I'm in that predicament. It just didn't work out for me. And the other day I mentioned, there was the heavy rain we had this morning. If it had been this afternoon and rained out this game, then Game 1 would have been tomorrow and Game 2 would have been Sunday, and I could have squeezed that one in. Good Lord knows what he's doing. He's looking out for me even when sometimes I'm not looking out for myself also.
He does that for us all, doesn't he?
Already with this kind of crud in my chest and throat, I don't know if sitting outside on a 42-degree night tonight would be real good for tomorrow night. So he's looking out for me, but it'll be fun. It'll be a bundled-up crowd. Look, it's cold, but it's really cold after the blast furnace we've had the last month and a half, and even come on the heels of summer. So the first night to really dress up in the scarves and the gloves at a game, probably all year at Busch Stadium. I would say none of the April games even involved anything quite this cool. I've been to some cold weather new Busch Stadium games, including games 4 and 5 of the 2006 World Series, maybe the coldest I've ever been at baseball for both of those. It was not that bad at the games against Texas in 2011 and was almost nice. Not just a lighter jacket for the 2 World Series games I went to in 2013 against the Red Sox. I've never been to an LCS game. I've been to a DS game, the closeout game against the Pirates in 2013, and very fortunate and privileged and lucky and appreciative to have been to those World Series games. So I hadn't been able to squeeze a LCS in, so the Cardinals are going to have to get it done tonight without me. But tonight's big. I mean, to draw blood tonight, and then I think the math is definitely Flaherty must win those two starts. The games he starts, Austin, the Cardinals have to win. All right, well, you throw that with tonight, all right, get you one more from somebody else and on to the World Series and maybe on to a World Series against the Yankees, which would be it's the dream World Series for me.
Yeah, I mean, I cannot stand, and I cannot put enough emphasis on those three words. I cannot stand the New York Yankees. I don't care if they ever see another World Series as long as I live. I hope they never make it close to a World Series as long as I live. I cannot stand them. They are my second least favorite team in baseball next to the Boston Red Sox. They're really tied for first. I can't stand either one of them. But if the Yankees never win or even get to another World Series as long as I live, I'll be happy. So go Astros on that side. Even though they're the better team, they'll probably beat the Cardinals, unfortunately. Both those teams will probably beat the Cardinals if I'm being real about it. But go Cardinals. It's going to be a cold one. I made a critical error in not wearing a jacket today because it's about 55 degrees, and I've got to broadcast a high school football game in a little bit. So that's going to be interesting.
Yeah, you're going to – it's going to feel cold out at high school football tonight for sure, just like for everybody doing anything outside this weekend because of this big change. No, I love the Yankees. I love their tradition, and I've wanted that World Series all my life. And
if the Cardinals win, I'll be okay. I just don't want the Yankees to win it.
Well, the Cardinals won the last time they met in the World Series, 1964, but they haven't met.
Been a little while since then.
The Yankees haven't won it all in 10 years. That's forever for them. They haven't won it since the 2009 season, trying to win it for the 28th time. But they've got a lot of work ahead of them with the Astros. This hour coming to a close. We come back to start hour number 2. We'll have Peter Edmiston with us from The Experience with C.J. Hurt. You hear them every morning with Austin Eldridge from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. every morning on this station. Austin in our Family Leisure studio. I'm in Columbia. You're listening to Sports Time with Wolo and Stats, and Austin and Drew on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 87.7, and 96.1.
I love successes in business. 20 years ago, a guy named Matt Eflin decided when he graduated from the University of Memphis, he was going to get into the insurance business. And man, did he ever get into it. Now, he's got several offices around the area, all to protect you. The main one is in Bartlett, 8099 Stage Hills Boulevard. And the reason Matt is so successful, he's very young, but he's been so successful because he has a unique approach. He tries to have a one-on-one evaluation with each individual to check out their insurance needs. And he specializes in all types of insurance, personal insurance, business insurance. Basically, he sits you down and he asks you whether it's a business or whether it's your home, your family, what's the most important thing you want to protect? And then he figures out your options, collaborates with you, and voila, you're protected. 901-757-2315. That's the Eflin Insurance Group.
Upgrade your commute with Audible. Get 100% ad-free listening anytime, anywhere with the Audible app. Be inspired by Mel Robbins' Take Control of Your Life, Malcolm Gladwell's Talking to Strangers, and Rachel Hollis's Girl Stop Apologizing. Or listen to Stephen King's latest thriller, The Institute, on your commute. Use the app to hear an amazing story or learn something new, and let Audible give you the edge. Start a free 30-day Audible trial today, and your first audiobook is on us. Visit audible.com.
Bartlett Small Engine has been serving quality power equipment since 1970. They have a full line of power equipment, parts, and services for most makes and models. Bartlett Small Engines has the best brands in the power tool industry: Honda mowers, trimmers, and generators, Steel blowers, trimmers, and chainsaws, Echo trimmers, blowers, and chainsaws, plus quality products from Red Mat and Shindawa. And they're all American made. Bartlett Small Engine is your can-do store. 6780 Summer Avenue. Call 901-386-9779.
Hi, folks. Good news for bargain hunters and bandits from the Chevy Sheriff in Collierville. Sunrise Chevy has over 500 Chevys and used cars in stock just in time for the Sunrise Low Price Rodeo. Factory rebates up to $5,000, Sunrise discounts high as $8,000, and don't forget, Sunrise specializes in secondary financing. Need a good body shop? Bring it to Sunrise. We work on all makes and models. Remember, you can bring your Chevy to Sunrise for service no matter where you bought. Buy American and buy from Sunrise. There's always a sale at the Sunrise Chevy Ranch. Find new roads to 385 in Houston Levy and Collierville. Chevys cost less at Sunrise, partner.
At Jason's Deli, you can stuff yourself full of great deli food
Food that's healthy, fresh, and best of all, it's not expensive. Jason's Deli is all about choice. Whether you're looking for a gluten-free menu, vegetarian sandwiches, healthy kids' meals, or if you'd like to invent your sandwich via the build-your-own selections, Jason's Deli has you covered. And they only use fresh, wholesome ingredients. Choose from the club and specialty sandwiches, paninis, wraps, soups, salads, pastas, and much more. I love the cleanliness in the restaurant, the hospitality, and of course the cost. They have a huge salad bar and great soups, including Southwest chicken chili, fire roasted tortilla, organic vegetable, tomato basil, and many, many more. And if you're planning an event, their catering department is fantastic and can handle any size party. Go check out Jason's Deli's 4 locations. On Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, that's my favorite, on Germantown Parkway in Cordova, at Poplar and Highland, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch.
You already know you can listen to Sports 56, 96.1, and 87.7 anywhere with the Sports 56 app or at sports56whbq.com. But you can also keep up to date with everything going on by keeping up with Sports 56 on social media. Be sure to follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitch for information on breaking news, chances to win prizes, and video of all the shows. Don't miss out on anything that's going on. Stay in touch with Sports 56, 96.1, and 87.7 on social media. We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis, WIVG-FM Tunica Memphis, and WPG-FLP Memphis. Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Now, more of Sports Time with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
Welcome to our numero dos of Sports Time with Wolo and Stats, minus Wolo temporarily. He will be joining us in about an hour and 15 minutes, somewhere in that range, as he is headed up to Philly, where the Tigers are getting ready to take on Temple. Brett Norsworthy is in Columbia, Missouri, where the Ole Miss Rebels are about to take on the Missouri Tigers tomorrow. Different Tigers in action over there. And we are going to be joined now by the man, the myth, the legend. You hear him every morning right here on these very airwaves from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. alongside C.J. Hurt for the Peter Edmiston Experience with C.J. Hurt. You can follow him on Twitter at Peter Edmiston. He also does some work for the NBA and Grizzlies at The Athletic. Peter Edmiston joins us now. Hello, sir. I haven't talked to you in, 4 or 5 hours now?
I was hoping you would add Scrabble champion to my resume. Otherwise, yes.
For sure, Peter. I was listening to you guys bright and early this morning. In fact, I heard all y'all sign on at 7 bells this morning when I was making my way up I-55. Peter, I would just say no myth to it, just man and legend.
No, that's true. He's not a myth.
Well, I just know this, that I was challenged today in a way that I've not been in a while. DJ came at me in my Scrabble acumen, and you just don't bark up that tree. I'm just gonna
we warned him, Brett. We warned him strongly that it was a bad decision to come after Peter in a game of Scrabble, and he just didn't listen to us.
Do not do it. And one time I'm driving down the road listening to Peter, and frankly, it was in one of those years when the golf tournament didn't have as glamorous field as it does now for the WGC FESJI, and had a golfer in it. Peter, I don't even know if you remember breaking this line out, but I'm not kidding you. I had to pull over. I was buckled over laughing so hard. It was a golfer named Scott Gutschewski. And Peter quickly said, you got to like anybody that's got 3 names in his one last name.
I still stand by that. He's going to be my pick.
Do you even remember ripping that line off, Peter?
Oh, yeah. I remember my man Gutschewski. He's up there.
And Peter, people ask me, and look, I don't remember every single jot and tittle of every show, but on most of the bigger subjects, I do remember what I've said through the years, because you have to when somebody hits you with, I heard you say such and such. No, I'm sorry, I didn't say that.
Well, I don't want to impugn the integrity of anybody else who does, this for a living. But I think there are definitely those of us who, we all entertain, of course, but generally speaking, what my opinion is on the radio is what my opinion is off the radio. There's not really a lot of, there's some more presentation to it or whatever, but at the end of the day, that's like if you were just talking to me walking on the street, it would be the same sort of thing. Whereas you have other people who, that's not at all the case, and they might have trouble remembering what they said because they might not remember the specifics of whatever that particular ginned up argument was. So, yeah, I mean, I think it's easier if you just kind of are like actually telling the truth.
Yeah, it's getting really to the truth-telling time and getting a little more real for the Grizzlies. You know, every start of a season, you know, it has the dance. You have the lead up until camp starts, and then you have camp opening, you have media day. You roll out these first two games against Maccabi Haifa and New Zealand. Monday night gets a little more real with a real NBA team with the Charlotte Hornets coming to town, and we're leading up to opening night against Miami, Peter.
Yeah, I mean, again, the Hornets are, you know, on the bleeding edge of what is considered an NBA team. It's going to be bad for them this year, but they are better than the Maccabi Haifa team. They are better than the Sky Sport Breakers of New Zealand, who themselves are better than Maccabi Haifa. So, you know, it's a very slow ease in. It's about as easy a run as you can get for Taylor Jenkins. There's a lot of time between the second and third games to work on some of the things that they've seen on the court, and it's been interesting to kind of watch you know, the early returns thus far. I think you know, first and foremost, Ja Morant is just a flat out star. Now, you know, that doesn't mean that he's going to have a smooth ride all the way through his rookie season. Far from it. You know, no matter how talented point guards are, rookie point guards tend to struggle. Any rookie that has his ball in the hands, as much as Ja's going to have the ball in his hands, you're going to see some bumps and bruises and some mistakes and all that stuff. But man, the kid is just an exceptional talent, and you rarely see a guy with the kind of athletic ability he has, speed wise, jumping wise, be able to pass with either hand with such accuracy at such a young age. And his teammates are already buzzing about what it's like to play with him. So he's a ticket seller, the likes of which I don't know the Grizzlies have had one like him since maybe Jay Will. I mean, I don't think that in terms of excitement, you know, I'm not saying, you know, he's a better player than Mark or Mike or anything like that. That's all far, far in the future to be determined. But I am saying in terms of buying your ticket and getting to see something special, he has the potential to do that in a way that I don't know that anyone wearing a Grizzly jersey has ever had.
Well, and Peter, another one of the young players on this Grizzlies team that has shown us a little bit so far, and there's a little bit of excitement around him. A couple of articles have already been written as well on, and a controversial player of sorts, but Grayson Allen may be trying to have a coming out party for this Grizzlies team this year. And what do you expect to see from him? Do you expect to see improvement? Do you expect to see a guy who's trying to change his image of what could be a dirty player? What are we looking for from Grayson this year?
Well, you know, that's another one that's going to be interesting, Austin. I don't know. So far, so good, though. You know, he's shooting well over 50% from the field in the first two games. He's really hit it well from three. He's right at 50% from three. He's had some superb athletic plays, a couple of big-time blocks on Tuesday night, and a massive throwdown dunk. And people forget, the guy's got the third-best vertical on the team. I mean, he's one of three guys, along with Ja and Brandon Clark, who are over 40 inches on the vertical leap chart. So he can get it a little bit athletically, and he's starting to show that. You know, the question with Grayson is, as always, as I wrote about and as has been, you know, well documented by, you know, many, many people besides myself, it's just strictly about composure. You know, can he, when the chips are down, when things get a little bit rough, when he takes a couple hard fouls, when he's in a real competitive one-on-one battle, can he just cool it and not act like a complete nutcase? You know, can he avoid doing something dirty and or foolish? You know, that's going to be the real question, because from a talent standpoint, it does look like what he's worked on over the summer and the things that he's been doing are starting to pay some benefit. He looks like he could be the starting two guard on Monday in that third preseason game, and if that goes well, you know, he may end up being the starter for the season. Dillon Brooks has not been spectacular in the first two games, so I think that position is up for grabs.
And, Peter, that would be one of the classic examples of the Grizzlies really are due some just out-of-nowhere great luck. Didn't you? And I don't think they used it all up, the quota of it, on lottery night. That was a big one, but on personnel, on down ballot personnel, free agents, later draft picks. I mean, it's just time for one of the – I'm not talking about somebody turning into Draymond, but just a good break for the Grizzlies to have something like that with personnel.
Well, they've had some decent success with some of the later picks and free agent findings and that kind of thing. I think James Johnson springs to mind as a guy they sort of found off the scrap heap and turned him into a guy who's now making eight figures down in Miami. He was a big time player. They had Hassan Whiteside, for example, in camp prior to him breaking out, and just it didn't work out. They didn't, timing wasn't there. They didn't like his attitude. So, there's all different explanations now for why they didn't go after him, but he was, certainly in the mix. They've had some guys, but it's just about identifying the talent and then having that talent at the right time. That's been what may have eluded them a little bit. Kyle Lowry, for example, his attitude mindset wasn't right when he was part of this team. Drafting Mike Conley certainly didn't help with that, but he was a problem in Houston. Thereafter, it took him maturing and growing up to become the player that he turned into and an NBA champion. So, it's a timing thing, but they've been doing pretty well. Even a guy like Dylan Brooks I just mentioned, I mean, he's a late, mid-second round pick. They've done pretty good in terms of filling out their roster with those second-round picks. Just got to, get a guy over the hump, but it's hard for those guys. Those guys don't typically, they turn into some good players, but rarely do they turn into star-level guys like a Draymond that you're talking about.
Well, and a player that I'm really intrigued by that is not a new guy or anything like that, but is Jay Crowder. I like Jay Crowder. I like what he can bring to the table with the Grizzlies, and I'm curious what your thoughts are from him and what kind of impact he will have on this team, because I'm really intrigued by him. I think he could be a valuable asset of this Grizzlies team.
Well, yeah, I mean, he's first of all, his attitude has been really good. That's been number one. As a veteran, coming in and being more than willing, willing is not even the right word. Like, he has been eager to share everything he could with his young teammates, with the rookies, with everybody on the team. He's been really open about that. That's been great. That's very helpful to those young players who are just trying to figure out what in the world is going on. He's been there and done that, and has been a real veteran leader thus far in training camp. On the court, he's really versatile and can handle and can defend a number of positions, has the ability to make the outside shot. I wouldn't say that he's a knockdown shooter by any stretch of the imagination, but he has some of that in his game. And so that combination makes it very effective and makes him a guy that I think is pretty much penciled in to start at the three. There'll be lots of different moves, and we'll see what happens as the season goes on. But to start with a young group, I think he really does add some stability, which is nice.
Peter, I think all of us, you and Austin, Drew, we've all weighed in this week on the week that has been for Adam Silver and for the NBA. If anybody's got anything else they'd like to chip in, I sure don't want to censor anybody, because that has kind of been pervasive this week. I thought it was just horrible how the CNN reporter was treated. So without unless somebody's got something they want to chip in, without any more of that recrimination and maybe in fear of maybe being a little bit repetitive of what we've all said this week, if Adam Silver could go back, and we've all had bad weeks before, and boy, if you could just have that mulligan and redo it, how do you think he could have positioned himself and the league to insulate themselves from this? And what is the best step forward when the entire NBA traveling party gets back home and we're approaching opening night?
Well, the second part of that is more complicated. We'll get to that in a sec. The first part, I think if Adam Silver had just thought a little bit and said his second statement first, he would have avoided at least some of the furious backlash that has come through. Certainly not all of it, but some of it, because the first statement was so mealy-mouthed and kowtowing and subservient, and it was a big-time blunder. And he needed to take that mulligan. And you can't unring that bell, but he tried. And the second statement was better and would have at least kind of gotten him through that first little patch. Now, as far as from where you go from here, well, that is literally the billion-dollar question. And, that one, Brett, that one depends on how deep you want to go down this well. How far do you want to go? That was the question we were talking amongst ourselves, those of us who covered the Grizzlies earlier this week, in kind of batting this thing around as it pertains to the NBA. And I've even spoken to some reporter friends who are in China right now and kind of get their take on the issue. The fact of the matter remains that this has been inevitable since Nixon went into China decades ago, since you started the idea that capitalism and the American spirit was going to somehow pervade China via the capitalist system. That we would
it's messy.
We would sort of use that as a wedge to kind of get that pesky American spirit and capitalism into the country, and in doing so, we would make them more like us. But it's kind of gone the other way. We've gotten in there, but in trying to keep that market and trying to keep all that money and all those people and trying to do all of that stuff, they've kind of turned some of us more like them. And we try to sort of say, well, what kind of things do we have to do? What sort of compromises do we have to do to keep that market? What kind of compromises do we have to do to make sure that stays the same in all of that? What kind of compromises do we need to do in order to keep those billions and billions of customers potentially in all of that money? And, that problem doesn't go away when everyone comes back home. That problem, in fact, exists throughout virtually every multinational corporation that does business. That's a deeper thing. All these corporations are just one tweet away from a similar issue, maybe not quite as public, but no less problematic. You've seen Marriott have to deal with it. Mercedes-Benz have to deal with it. Gap has to deal with it. And that was just in the last 2 weeks. Apple has had a major controversy about removing 2 apps that the Chinese government wanted removed because the government felt as though they helped the protesters in Hong Kong, and Apple did it because they want to maintain their connection to the market. Well, why'd they do it? Why does anyone do it? How far do you really want to go with this? So that's my question. If you want to take this thing all the way down the rabbit hole, then, buddy, we can do that. But I promise you that's going to be a discussion that very few people really want to have.
Peter, we are, almost every syllable on the same page. And I referenced this in a conversation with someone this week, dating back to that groundbreaking. It was historic. It was almost covered like man going to the moon. When Nixon went to China, that was unbelievable. I'm not saying I remember every single second of it, but I have read a lot through the years. It was very controversial. His political people, names a lot of people remember from Watergate, Haldeman, Ehrlichman, Pat Buchanan, Jeb Magruder. A lot of his political people were so opposed to it. Of course, the State Department with Henry Kissinger and people from previous administrations. I think there. What was the Secretary of State? A couple of different families back to back. Maybe the Bundys, but anyway, of course, the State Department was very much for it. Agriculture Department was for it. Commerce Department was for it, and he went. A lot of presidents may have been impeached for going to China, but it started this relationship that we're now on. And you're right, through the years, the complete power structure has really swung to them, and the ultimate power swings to them. I've said a couple of times this week on these airwaves, look how they're dealing about this. How would you like to be in those trade negotiations?
Oh yeah, again, this is the ultimate situation, Brad. And it's hard for me to divorce it from the bigger picture of just in general capitalism and the consistent need for more market, more. There's never enough. That is just by nature. There was a quote from David Stern 13 years ago in a piece that was done. It was rehashed over the last few days as a result of this, and he just lays it thin. He just says, look, my job for my owners is to make money, irrespective of how I feel about any of this stuff. We have imbued corporations and turned them into people as per the the famous court ruling, Citizens United, that has really changed the way that political campaigns are done. We have essentially said that corporations are people, literally. Like, I mean, if they have their own thing, you can't necessarily sue individuals within corporation because that corporation itself personifies it. So you're suing that particular thing. But if a corporation is indeed a person, it's a sociopath. There's no feeling, there's no emotion, there's no concern about anything other than that one deal, which is profit and keeping that profit coming in and keeping that money rolling in. And so as long as you expect corporations, whether it's the NBA, whether it's Apple, whether it's FedEx, whoever it may be, if you expect them to be thinking from a true values standpoint in the same way that you or I or anyone else as just a regular human being would, you're going to be sorely disappointed every time. That is not something that is part of the ethos of a corporation, whether it's the NBA, left wing, right wing. That's just true across the board.
That's well stated. Back to the floor. How concerned are you about Jonas Valanciunas?
Well, it's a weird one. I wrote a little bit about it today in The Athletic. I talked to some folks yesterday, tried to kind of figure out what's going on. The Grizzlies continue. They've been consistently very at ease about it. No one is panicking. No one even behind the scenes is worried or even has any sort of a issue there. But the fact remains that it's been a week and, he has not returned to practice. He didn't play any of the games. It's been a sore foot. And it would just be reassuring to see the guy out there a little bit more. It'd be reassuring to see the guy, involved in the action. The Grizzlies, Taylor Jenkins yesterday, when we talked to him, kind of made reference to an appointment that he had yesterday, and I kind of asked around for some clarification about what that appointment was, and none was to be found. So I can't help you there as of yet. But there was some appointment yesterday involving his foot. So, I mean, I don't think there's any reason to just, freak out or anything like that. But keep an eye on it. And if he's not doing something relatively soon, then I think you can start to be a little more alarmed.
Peter, real quick, we'll wrap up with you. I wanted to find out one more thing. We talked about it a little bit this morning on your show, but the Warriors this year, you talked to me and CJ about it. Name somebody on the team besides Curry, Draymond Green, and Klay Thompson, and we struggled to do it. Are we looking at a possibly, all things considered, mediocre Warriors team?
Well, certainly by comparison to the last few years, absolutely. Now, they'll still be an above-average NBA team because Steph Curry is going to have a MVP-type season. I mean, I think I said it on the show today. I don't know if you heard it, Brad, but I predict Steph will average over 35 points this year per game. I think he's going to put up enormous numbers because he has to. I mean, last night he put up 40 in 25 minutes in a preseason game where he's probably going about 70%. But there's really, I mean, they could start, Alfonso McKinney. You could see big minutes from, the likes of Damian Lee and Willie Cauley-Stein is going to be a big part of things. And, just not a lot of names that you would expect. And if they can just kind of hang around and Klay Thompson, if he can come back, which he might around, late March and get himself into decent shape for the playoffs, that might be a different deal now. But, Draymond has historically not been a very good early regular season player. He's got that kind of Shaq, I'm going to play myself into shape sort of thing going, where he really doesn't start to hit high gear until about February or March. Well, if that's the case with this team, they could be maybe 2 or 3 games over 500 at that point. So I think their defense is going to be atrocious. Not a big D'Angelo Russell guy. They're not going to miss the playoffs, but yeah, they're not. To me, they're not a 50-win team right now. No.
Well, Peter, thank you as always for coming on with us in the afternoon. We always appreciate your insight on the NBA. And if you want more of Peter on the NBA, you can follow him at Peter Edmiston. And also go to The Athletic Memphis and The Athletic NBA and subscribe there. And all his great articles can be found there when he writes about the Grizzlies or the NBA or what have you. Peter, thanks a lot, man. Have a great afternoon.
Thank you, gentlemen. Have a great weekend.
That is Peter Edmiston. You hear him every day right here on these very airwaves from 7 to 10 on the Peter Edmiston Experience with C.J. Hurd. We're going to come back in just a minute on the other side, and we're going to talk some high school football with Coach Glenn Rogers Jr., another one of our favorite segments of the week. They're all our favorite segments, really. We always enjoy talking to everybody. We'll be right back on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 96.1, and 87.7.
Get happy with Johnny Radio's Happy Hour. Weekday afternoons from 1 till 3 on Sports 56, 96.1, and 87.7.
The folks at Homer Skelton Hyundai want to say thank you. Thank you, Memphis, for another spectacular year. They set records, but I can understand why. You think about the product. Where else do you get a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty? That's what you get on every new car at Homer Skelton Hyundai. Oh, and thank you again for the 11th straight year, the #1 certified pre-owned car dealership in all of Memphis. It starts with that product, but then it goes to the shopper assurance. Where else do you go where you get transparent pricing, flexible test drive, take the car for a couple of days if you want, streamlined buying process? You're not going to be there all day, in and out. And then, and I have not seen this anywhere else, the 3-day worry-free exchange. You buy a new car, if you've got any buyer's remorse, you've got 3 days to change your mind. Just get on Lamar, take it into Mississippi, the first exit's Craft Road, turn left, and go see Chris True and all the gang at Homer Skelton Hyundai. You're scrambling around. You need a haircut. Where you gonna go? I got a place that has 15 locations. I've got a place where details matter. I've got a place that can be invigorating and relaxing at the same time. You know what it is. It's Supercuts. Every haircut ends with the signature hot towel finish. Every haircut matters. When you're getting ready, you go into Supercuts. The stylist will pay attention to every detail. So you get the haircut you want, and of course, you're going to finish with that signature hot towel. You walk out clean, sharp, and not just ready, but super ready. And you might want to ask that hairstylist about what the tea tree experience is. One part invigorating, one part relaxing. The tea tree experience is something you need to try. 15 locations. I mentioned that, didn't I? All you've got to do is go to supercuts.com. You'll find the one nearest to you. Get super ready at Supercuts.
How you doing, people? And if you're in the market for a new Chevy car, truck, or SUV, new or pre-owned, see my guys at All-Star Chevrolet in Olive Branch. They will treat you like a star. It's simple as ABC. A is the All-Star Challenge to beat any written offer from any Mid-South dealer, or they buy you a tank of gas. B, better buying experience. They value your time and make it quick. C, customer care. They want you to be an All-Star family member for this car or truck and all the other ones you'll ever need. And before you head to All-Star and Olive Branch, check out the inventory at allstarautogroup.com. Silverados, Equinox, Traverse, Impala, Camaro. They have all you ever need with the best Chevy lineup ever. So don't go to Collierville, The Pike, or South Haven. Find new roads to Olive Branch and All-Star Chevrolet. Minutes from anywhere in Memphis, or go to allstarautogroup.com. Just mention you heard about them on this station, and you'll get a Malco movie gift card when you test drive any All-Star Chevy you want.
Hi, this is Troy 5 owner of 5 Roofing. It's an exciting time to be a Memphis Tiger fan, and we at 5 Roofing have decided to share our excitement. We are proud members of the Tigers home team, which means we sponsor the Tigers athletic department, and we're also season ticket holders to both the football and basketball programs. We will be giving away 2 and sometimes 4 tickets to most of the games this coming year. To have a chance at winning the tickets, find our Facebook page, like, and share our post. The more you share, the more chances you have to win. We also want to give away some tickets to those who wouldn't otherwise get a chance to go. So you can go to memphisroofer.com or 5ash.com and send us a note why you or someone you know should get the tickets. And as always, 5 Roofing is fair, honest, and ethical. We're experts in all forms of roofing for both residential and commercial buildings. 5 Roofing, 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
5 Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
Check out Bass Pro Shop's Flocktoberfest, October 12th and 13th at the Memphis Pyramid, with huge savings on all the gear you need. free seminars by expert duck hunters and regional and national calling championships emceed by Jim Ronquist, with over $20,000 in cash and prizes, including the championship prize, a Tracker Off-Road 800 SX side-by-side, and a one-night stay at Big Cypress Lodge. You can register on-site or visit BassPro.com/Flocktoberfest for details.
Got something you want to get off your chest?
You better have a backup plan.
Want to join the conversation?
Someone needs to tell him he has to grow up.
Join us on the First Bank phone lines at 360-8255 or the First Bank text line at 67129. Now, more of Sports Time with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
Welcome back into Sports Time with Wolo and Stats. No Wolo for a little while longer as he is making his way to Philadelphia, where the Memphis Tigers are going to be taking on the Temple Owls tomorrow. Brett Norsworthy is in Columbia, Missouri, where Ole Miss is going to be taking on the Missouri Tigers tomorrow evening. And you can hear that one right here on Real Sports Talk, Sport 56, 96.1 and 87.7. Pre-game coverage beginning at 4 p.m. tomorrow afternoon with kickoff scheduled for right around 6 or so. But we are joined right now by one of my favorite guests, as always, and he is a legend in this area, high school-wise, Coach Glenn Rogers Jr. And, Coach, I am kind of jealous right now because Drew tells me that you are enjoying your bye week in Florida, and it is 53 degrees and rainy here right now, and I'm not very happy. I wish I was where you are.
Hey, good afternoon, all our listeners. And, hey, Drew is right. I'm in sunny Florida. It's a bye week. And you know, it's a good time to be R&R, rest, relaxation. You know, a lot of people don't realize, man. You know, obviously coaches go through a lot during the season. It's a grind. You know, game planning, practice planning, getting ready for the game. Then you're dealing with kids. You know, the students, the players, academics, personal issues, family issues. You know, so anytime you get a little break, man, it's always enjoyable.
Open date for the Owls after a big win last Friday night, pretty comfortable win, and an open date for Christian Brothers after a loss for them to Briarcrest. Maybe the win, I don't know, they've had big state championship wins, but was that the biggest win ever in Briarcrest football history?
No, Stats, I don't think. You know, anytime you win a state title, that's huge.
That's right.
But I think you know, regular season wise, I think that was a big win for this. You know, for the way their season's going, you know, them being 7-0 right now. You know, think about that game last week. Briarcrest was leading, and then Christian Brothers took the lead with about a minute and a half left in the ball game, and then Briarcrest drives the ball downfield and scores with 19 seconds to go. So, I mean, that just ripped their heart, I'm sure, out of Christian Brothers fans. You know, and the players giving up a touchdown with that less time to go in the ball game. That'd be a tough loss.
Tough loss, 17-14, first time ever for Briarcrest to win over CBHS, but you know, a tough one for the brothers.
Brutal.
For sure. Their open date, Briarcrest open date, MUS open date, but some great games tonight. Before we get into the games tonight, I know you're not going to tell us where he's going to sign, but has Marcus Henderson narrowed his list down to a managing list, Glenn?
Oh, definitely. You know, he's narrowed his list down. LSU, Mississippi State, Alabama, Ole Miss, Tennessee, and I think Missouri. Those are his schools that he's looking at.
So down to 6.
He's visiting LSU this weekend. They're playing Florida. He's going to take a couple more visits. And he wants to really kind of be narrowed in by December, I think. I think he wants to sign by December, if I'm not too for sure. But if not, I know we know he's going to sign in February. But I think he wants to probably try to get a good hold, a good handle where he wants to go by December.
Glenn, really dumb question. I'm truly ignorant. I don't have the information. I lack the information and the knowledge. At MUS, do they even allow for him to graduate at December and enroll in anywhere in January? Is that allowed?
Yeah, that is allowed. We had a young man, Ford Howell, do it maybe about 7-8 years ago. He enrolled early at Wake Forest. And so we do allow that, but Marcus is not going to be an early enrollee. He wants to, go see it through the whole way, and then he's going to report. he's going to report it
benefits
for somebody's
I see the benefits, Coach Rogers, of doing both. I see the signing early in December, getting there in January, going through spring football. I see that, but also I'm old and I'm nostalgic, and I think there's something to playing another spring sport, playing basketball, maybe playing baseball, maybe doing both, maybe running track, maybe
exactly. Marcus, he's a track guy. He throws the distance shot puts for us. So and I'm a lot like you, Stats. I don't, with some of these early enrollees in December, January, I agree because some of these young men have did all they can do in high school, and they're good students, and they graduate early. But then it hurts the spring sports if a young man is running track or playing baseball. It really hurts your team if you're doing another sport and then you abruptly just leave after Christmas. So I'm kind of against it, but if it works for the young man, it works for him. Then I'm in all for that as well.
Well, Coach, on the field tonight, there are some good matchups going on, and one of those is matching up the first-place offense and the first-place defense in Region 8-6A, and that is Whitehaven and White Station. 5-1 Whitehaven, 5-2 White Station. 3 current SEC commitments, with Ray Curry Jr. committed to Mizzou, Tamarian McDonald going to Mississippi State, Martavius French at Arkansas, Bryson Easton. He's choosing between some SEC schools right now. What do you see in this one tonight?
Well, I'll tell you, that game is going to be worth the price of admission. Like you say, you got 3 SEC commits playing in that ball game. Three young men that all of them are high caliber character guys. 2 very, very good schools. 2 very good coaching staffs. We saw Whitehaven early in the year. We got White Station in a couple of weeks at Old Dobbs. This is going to be a game of the ages, I think, guys. And the way both teams are going, Whitehaven's lost 1 game to Brentwood. White Station's only lost 1 game. It's going to be a knockdown drag out. And I'm going to give it a nod to Whitehaven. I think Whitehaven will find a way to get it done. When you got a championship caliber team and it's ingrained in the school and in the kids, it's hard to knock that off week in and week out. And I think that's what Coach Salisbury has built with the Whitehaven program.
Glenn, we joke about the weather. You sitting in sunny Florida, and I'm in very cold Columbia, Austin in cooler Memphis, Dave in cooler Philadelphia, going to join us in a little bit. But tonight will be the first cold game of the year, and it hit them overnight. You hadn't had really one cold weather practice yet. Not many wet ball practices. How do coaches and players adjust tonight, Coach?
Yeah, like you said, Stats, when you had any practice in the cold weather, because it's been hot. It's been, this has not been, usual the type of weather we normally have in Memphis during this time of the year. So it's going to be one of these nights where you're going to have to adjust on the fly, get all the wet ball stuff out. Kids going to have to dress accordingly. We don't like our kids wearing a lot of, clothes on, especially guys carrying the ball with sleeves, because that tend to create fumble and ball slipping out. But, as coaches, I'm sure the coaches will be prepared for the weather. But as a player, we try to tell our kids, you don't need all those clothes. Because once the drilling gets going and you get to play in the game, you tend to warm up as a player. Because the weather really is not really the frigid temperature is not going to be in effect until a while.
How much does the rain, and it looks like it stopped for a little while, at least here in Memphis right now. It's raining a lot this afternoon and morning. How does that affect a change? You mentioned the weather, of course, with the cooler temperatures. How much does a wet field or a wet day change the game plan for these high school teams? Does it really affect them at all? Do they have to change the passing game up some, go more run? How do they handle the game planning for weather like that when it's wet outside?
I think definitely, as a coach, if you got rain, if it's rain, pouring down, you have to adjust your game plan because, you can't throw a wet ball like you can a dry one. Plus, route running, the slippage on the field. And so you have to adjust your game plan accordingly to what that defense is going to give you. But you do have to prepare for wet game. Dry ball material. The kids have to wear the proper cleats. If it's a grass field or turf field, you got to be prepared for that. You got to have plenty of towels. So it's a lot of preparation goes on when you're dealing with a wet field or wet conditions.
Glenn, this is a tough question. If you want to defer, I would be glad to accept it because I know you don't want to make anybody mad at you. But if you were a college coach and you could only have one of those guys at Whitehaven, which one would you take?
Oh, man.
Oh, that put him on the spot there. Woo!
I'm telling you. Oh, man, that's you know what, that's a tough question. I think
the
Whitehaven.
easy answer, give me all of them.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. All three of those guys to me can play. You know, we scrimmaged Whitehaven and they beat us, and all three of those young men had some kind of effect on the scrimmage. And to me, they're three phenomenal players. I think Coach Salisbury and his staff, they're very fortunate to have three guys like that, in the stable. And so it's anytime you get the caliber kids like that, that makes your coaching job a lot fun, a lot easier.
Coach, you'd be a great politician if the coaching stuff doesn't work out for you in the end, because that was a great politician answer right there. I mean, you could run for city council with that.
Hey, Coach, that wasn't fair to kind of sandbag you like that, because I know you know them all well, and you don't want to get involved in it. All right, tonight, Houston at Collierville, Arlington at Bartlett, Mitchell at Hillcrest. All those games impact regions, impact playoffs, impact seeding, impact home field advantage coming up in a few weeks.
Definitely. You know, Houston's rolling along. They got the running game going. They all world tailbackers moving the ball well. And, you know, we said it earlier, Bartlett's been a big surprise. They're going out there to Collierville. And so a lot of good games going on tonight. Hillcrest and Arlington, I think Arlington will roll tonight. But, you know, it's a lot of exciting football. Hopefully fans, they prepare for the weather tonight. This will be the first time the fans we'll have to dress accordingly, you know, because it's been hot. It's been so hot. So the fans will have to deal with the rain and the cold temperatures tonight.
Well, Coach, we mentioned a lot of the high-powered games going on tonight. One game kind of on the opposite end of that spectrum is Germantown at Central, and these are two teams that are in desperate need of a win. Some real struggles. Germantown opened the season beating Kip 50-0, but then they've been held to 20 points or less since then in every single game. And then, of course, Central putting up 35 and 40 on Collierville and Bartlett, but they've been held to 14 or less since then. Both these teams need a win desperately. Central is the home team. Who do you have in this one?
Yeah, and then, you know, both of these teams, like yourself, you know, this has been not a down year, but this is a surprising year for Major. A lot of talent coming back. They had a few guys that were going to transfer in, but that didn't happen. So Major Wright has got to be very, very disappointed the way the season has been played out so far. And then Germantown, coaching change. They, you know, I think they were 10-2 last year. Finished the season, I think, 11-2. Lost deep in the playoffs. The new coaches in, so it's a new message. Don't really know if the kids have bought in or not. Seems like they really haven't bought in, or maybe they've had some key injuries. But two teams are very, very disappointing season so far. I think Central will get the win, and I think Major has enough firepower still on his offense to get the job done, and I think Central will win. You know, plus they're at home. I think Central will pull this one off tonight.
That game is at home. It's at Crump Stadium, historic Crump Stadium in Tyler Springs.
Yeah,
we'll be on the call for
Crump Stadium.
Very historic Crump Stadium. I've heard about it all my life. My parents went to college football games there in the 50s, Glenn, and I've heard about it all my life. Glenn, you have a great rest of the weekend. We'll visit again next Friday. We'll see you next Friday afternoon, we hope, in the studio. Thank you.
Thank you, Glenn.
Absolutely, guys. Look, go Tigers, go, baby.
Thank you, Glenn. Glenn Rogers talking high school football with us again. Tyler Springs on that call tonight at historic Crump Stadium. I want to tell you about Williams Equipment Supply. They're your homegrown, locally owned, and they're number one in compact construction equipment company. They've represented the Bobcat Company for 50 years. Bobcat Company, the industry leader in compact loaders and excavators. Support American manufacturing by buying, leasing, or renting Bobcat equipment. Williams Equipment Supply, the largest compact equipment dealer in the Mid-South with 9 great locations. They've got the largest inventory of equipment, attachments, and parts, the largest compact rental fleet, the best technicians, and the most locations. Whether you do plumbing, utilities, swimming pools, concrete breaking, or foundations, let Williams Equipment Supply help you out with the right Bobcat excavator for you. Experience the pride Bobcat owners have of owning the number one brand of compact equipment. Whether you buy, lease, or rent, Williams Equipment Supply, they have the equipment you need at a price you can afford. For a demonstration or more details, the North Mississippi Bobcat specialist is Cody Bumpus. Cody's cell is 901-508-8739. In Memphis, the Bobcat specialist is Sam Watson. Sam's cell is 901-326-6429. If you call either of them over the weekend, be ready to talk some college football with them as well. Williams Equipment Supply, the largest compact equipment dealer in the Mid-South with 9 great locations. We come back, we talk more college football. Austin Eldridge in our Family Leisure studio with Drew. Dave joining us in about 20 minutes from Philadelphia. Hall of Famer Isaiah Thomas with us about 5:15. I'm in Columbia, and you're listening to Sports Time with Wolo and Stats on Real Sports Talk. Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7.
Sports 56 now has 2 FM homes. You can now find Real Sports Talk on 96.1 as well as 87.7 on your FM dial.
It's happened again. Miramichi, that heaven in Woodstock, 15 miles north of downtown Memphis. Miramichi has been made the #1 public golf course in the state of Tennessee. 15 minutes from downtown, all this natural beauty, this very tough test of golf is there for you, and it's #1 again. They've improved again, too. They've made changes. They always do. They want you to have the best golfing experience you could possibly have, and they keep on making these adjustments. They've knocked down some trees. They made it easier. They have better conditions with grass. The greens, outstanding. And once again, they are #1. I also should tell you they've got new golf carts, and they've got these cool little things where you hook up your phone, it'll charge, and at the same time, you've got GPS on your phone. All kinds of innovation and a world-class golfing experience at Miramichi in Woodstock.
Hi, this is John Conway with Conway Services. Did you notice your water heater not heating as well last winter? During the cold winter months, the groundwater is colder and requires more energy to heat the water, and sometimes old, inefficient tanked water heaters just can't keep up. It may be time for a tankless water heater from Conway Services that never runs out of hot water. Conway Services is making now the perfect time for a new tankless water heater with 24 months to pay, interest-free. Or I'll pay you $250 for that old tanked water heater. Plus, these energy-saving models only heat the water you use, saving you money on your gas bill every month. And no more worrying about that tank bursting in your attic either. So call Conway Services, the Mid-South's premier tankless water heater professionals at 384-3511. That's 384-3511. And the first 30 callers with a 10-year-old water heater will come out and inspect it absolutely free.
Call 384-3511. Conway Services. Call Conway today.
I'm here with the great Pat Donahue from the Rendezvous Restaurant Shipping Department.
Thanks, Brett. We've been shipping our ribs all over the country now for decades from our USDA-inspected shipping kitchen in the Pinch District. We hand-cook our ribs in pits that Mr. Charlie built over charcoal, just like they do at the restaurant.
What comes in a rib box?
We could do pork shoulder, we could do ribs, our sauce, seasoning, baked beans, coleslaw. We'll even throw in Pancho's cheese dip with our nacho boxes. We also put a bag of Rendezvous seasoned popcorn, heating instructions, some chef hats, some wet naps. We ship our ribs overnight, exclusively FedEx. And we don't ever want to use styrofoam, so we use corrugated cardboard, actually 2 boxes that fit nice together, so the ribs get to you, your loved ones, or your clients in a safe, wholesome manner.
Are y'all gearing up at the Rendezvous for the holiday season?
We've got ribs, shoulders, nacho boxes. We're stacking them high. The elves are working hard getting ready for the Christmas season. You can go to www.hogsfly.com or give us a call at 1-888-464-7359.
Charlie Burgos' Rendezvous Restaurant in the alley since 1948.
It's back. The Carhartt Crazy Sale at Frontier Western Store in Olive Branch. Visit Frontier this month for huge markdowns on clearance Carhartt items. The latest fall line just launched also, and Frontier is fully stocked. We've got jeans, shirts, bib, overalls, jackets, coats, gloves, belts, boots, and more. And to make room for all the new items, we've discounted a number of short-sleeve plaids and T-shirts. Save up to 50%. All Carhartt jeans are now $5 off. This is the last jean sale of the year, so stock up now for yourself or for someone else for the upcoming holidays. Christmas will be here before you know it, so you might as well save some cash now on what you know you'll need. Also this month, we are including a buy one, get one half-price sale on all novelty T-shirts by Simply Southern, Girly Girl, Live Oak, and more. It's the Carhartt Crazy Sale and more at Frontier Western Store, 5880 Goodman Road in Olive Branch, and on the web at frontierwesternstore.com. Family owned and operated since 1967.
Get your gun, Nelly, and saddle up Penelope. It's Western Trading Days at Sunrise Buick GMC. Old-time trading prices on over 700 new Buicks and GMC trucks, and the Sunrise Used Car Corral has over 500 in stock. Branch managers have been told to cut prices to the bone, and remember, you can bring your car to Sunrise Service no matter where you bought it. If you're a good person with bad credit, SunriseMemphis.com will help you put one of your brand on these little fillies. Free hot dogs and Cokes at the Chuck Wagon. Western Trading Days going on now at all 3 Sunrise locations. We make it fun to buy a car again.
Now, more of Sports Time with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Woloshyn and Brett Norsworthy.
Well, if you thought everybody was taking a nap last week with all the football teams that seemed to be on a bye, boy, oh boy, are you going to get to make up for it this weekend. Everybody's playing this weekend. It feels like a lot of great games. Of course, Memphis, nationally ranked. Drew, I know you're excited about that. Will the nationally ranked curse avoid them? And will they get that 6th win and move to 6-0? They're going to Temple. Dave will join us here in about 10 or 15 minutes or so from Philadelphia, where the Tigers are going to be playing tomorrow. Of course, Brett Norsworthy in Columbia, Missouri, where Ole Miss is looking to get their 4th win, and they are about a 12.5-point underdog right now to the Missouri Tigers and Kelly Bryant. So they'll be looking to get that 4th win, a very important 4th win, if they can pull it off. Of course, the Red River rivalry going on this weekend, USC Notre Dame, LSU Florida. Brett, I'm talking so much good football this weekend.
If you could go to one of those national games, don't pick the Tigers, don't pick SEC. If you could go to one of the national flavored games, which one would you go to? If you could beam there, all expenses, no cash outlay.
Oklahoma, Texas, I think, for me. If I had to take the SEC out of it, I would have said LSU Florida had it been an SEC game, but not SEC. I love Notre Dame and USC as well. That's a great one. But the Red River rivalry, there's so much fun involved in that game. I feel like those fans down there really get into it. It's at the Cotton Bowl. I would love to go see that game in person.
Bright and Early was there 3 years ago this weekend. I can't believe 3 years went by that fast. And the show that Baker Mayfield put on that day, and those fans, that crowd, that setting, the state fair. So since I've been to that one, if I had to pick a national, I would be at South Bend. I've never been to South Bend, and that would be a time to go. All right, here's the top 10 games this week. Austin, you stop me when you think there will be an upset, okay?
All right.
Bama, 2:30 at A&M.
Keep
Clemson,
on.
2:30 at home against Florida State. Georgia, 11 o'clock tomorrow morning against South Carolina. Tomorrow night, 7 o'clock down at Baton Rouge, LSU in Florida. Oklahoma, 11 o'clock in the morning at Fair Park at the Cotton Bowl against Texas.
This one, I think it's possible. I'm not picking it, but of all the ones we've listed so far, this would be the only one I would consider a possibility.
That's the first maybe, isn't it?
It's the first maybe, and it is a strong maybe.
Number 7, Florida, we mentioned. Number 8, Wisconsin, at home, 2:30 against Michigan State.
I love Wisconsin.
Notre Dame, 6:30 against USC tomorrow night on NBC.
Ding, 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 ding.
That's your first one.
If I had to pick one, and Drew agrees with me, I'm looking at him on the other side of the glass right now. If I had to pick one, I mentioned this to Bruce. As at USC, I know they're struggling, but this could be a trap game for Notre Dame. I think that 10.5 spread is too much.
If Notre Dame already isn't eliminated, this is not the year to not be undefeated.
No.
I think the playoff will have at least 2, maybe 3 undefeateds, and then that one-loss SEC defeated team kind of being the 4th, and that could get left out. It could be 4 in there, but Notre Dame, if they lose, they're for sure out. If they're not already, Southern Cal rather, if they lose, then Sunday morning dynamic could happen with Clay Helton, maybe even late night, Saturday night with him. Number 10, Penn State, 6:30 tomorrow night at Iowa.
Yeah, now this one right here, this just reeks of Big Ten slugfest, ugly, 10-7, 13-10. Something like that.
I mean, Iowa did only score 3 points last week in the Big
and that is why
lucky to get it.
I think Penn State is going to win this game. Now, look, every year, and I've said this to you many a time, Brett, I always am so high on Penn State. Every year I'm like, yeah, Penn State, watch out for Penn State. And then they always hit that one game, and it could be Iowa. It has been Iowa before. That knocks them out of contention. Iowa's not good for a ranked team. They are a sloggy Big Ten. I mean, they're everything you expect Iowa to be, and that is not a compliment. I think.
Real quick.
Yeah, sorry.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Real quick, if the Tigers take care of business just by one, they just win the ball game, and that's all that matters.
Yep.
They just win the game. What do they move up in the AP poll when it's released about 1:15 Sunday afternoon? They're 23 now, just with things working out in front of them, just the natural attrition. How many spots this week do you think they would move up?
Well, this would be the toughest game they've played yet. It would be the best opponent they've played yet, I think. And it will depend on what happens in front of them. But if they go on the road and beat Temple, stay undefeated, I think they move into inside the top 20, no doubt.
I agree. I think
they should.
19 is about the spot.
I disagree.
Really?
I think 21. I think from here on out,
you're saying they should not move inside the top 20?
No, I think they should, but they won't. They
Okay.
won't. They'll move about 2 spots week to week. You can't really expect them to jump 3-5 spots because the way the AP voters vote, it's just Memphis isn't going to get enough high-ranking votes. I mean, even last week, with us getting the 23 ranking, 18 AP voters didn't even have us in the top 25. So I don't expect those 18 people to all jump on board for us to move in the top 20. So I'm thinking about 21, maybe even 22.
The team that I'm looking at, there's 2 in front of you right now. I had to do a double take when I saw Wake Forest. What? Wake Forest in the top 20? And then you got Virginia in front of you, who is surprisingly an underdog at Miami right now. Baylor's tonight. Sorry, tonight. That game is tonight. So there is a possibility if those 2 teams falter that Memphis could jump. You still got Baylor and SMU to deal with. Arizona State's right there. Iowa's right there. There's chances for Memphis to jump into that top 20.
Drew, I know you are already doing it with John Stacy and Gabe Kuhn and crew on Sunday night on the Blue and Gray Show. But next week, after a Tiger win, we need to do the further examination of some of these AP voters, their affiliations, and who they're voting for. These votes still for A&M. If there's a vote next week for A&M after they get blasted by Alabama, that's just being lazy.
Yeah. I don't think they should be ranked right now.
They shouldn't be, Austin. They should not be. Hour 2 in the books. When we come back, we start Hour 3 on this Friday afternoon. We talk the business of sport with Rick Harrow. We're joined by Dave Woloshin from Philadelphia, and about 5:15, NBA Basketball Hall of Famer Isaiah Thomas, college basketball national champion for Coach Bob Knight of Indiana and champion with the Detroit Pistons. He joins us at about 5:15. You are listening to Sports Time with Wolo, Stats, Drew, Austin, cast of thousands on this Friday afternoon on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 96.1, and 87.7.
I want to invite you to come by the Spirit Shop. You know, that little log cabin on Poplar, your liquor and wine oasis. The Spirit Shop has been providing sports fans their beverage needs since way back in 1969. So come in now and get ready for the big game. Whether your favorite team wins or loses, the Spirit Shop will help you celebrate or ease that pain away. The Spirit Shop is open every day, and they're located perfectly at 4848 Poplar. That's the corner of Poplar and St. Nick.
You have to be up in 5 hours. 2 hours. 6 minutes, and you haven't slept a wink. ZzzQuil Pure Z's is a drug-free blend of botanicals with an optimal dose of melatonin, so you can fall asleep naturally and wake with no next-day grogginess. So tonight, try new ZzzQuil Pure Z's from the sleep experts at Vicks ZzzQuil.
Welcome back to Amazon Prime One-Day Delivery Trivia. Now to the next question. If Adam can get a chainsaw in 1 day with Amazon Prime One-Day Delivery, and Sharon can get a leaf blower in 1 day with one-day delivery, what are the odds their neighbor will order noise-canceling headphones with Amazon Prime One-Day Delivery? Yes, Sarah.
Pretty good?
Correct. Introducing one-day delivery from Amazon Prime. Order from millions of items. Peace and quiet delivered.
Hi, I'm Raymond Denon, Vice President of Optima Tax Relief. If you're in debt to the IRS, there's a lot you need to know. Starting with rule number 1, don't mess with the IRS. They can garnish your paycheck, levy your bank accounts, even take your home or business. That's all true. But it's also true that there's a way out. It's called the Fresh Start Initiative. It's one of the biggest breaks the IRS has ever offered. If you qualify, you could save thousands, even tens of thousands. Nobody knows this program like us, the experts at Optima Tax Relief. We have an A-plus rating with the Better Business Bureau, and we've resolved over $500 million in tax debt for our clients. We'll stand between you and the IRS and fight to get you the best deal possible. Don't mess with the IRS. For tax help you need, for tax help you can trust, call Optima for a free consultation.
Call 800-748-5713. 800-748-5713. 800-748-5713.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
I almost never go to Central Barbecue without running into somebody I know.
That could be because you only eat at Central Barbecue.
It's because Central Barbecue is where Memphians go to get barbecue and has consistently been voted the most popular barbecue restaurant among locals.
Actually, that's really saying something.
I know. Memphis is the nation's capital of barbecue. With all the choices, people who live here go to Central Barbecue.
They do get their share of tourists.
Sure, because Central Barbecue has been mentioned on TV and in tons of national publications. You know why?
Because of the great food?
Because those TV shows and magazines look for the place where the locals go, and that, my friend, is Central Barbecue.
125 seasons of Ole Miss football.
Caught by Ducey, he may go.
Under
Dexter
center.
breaks a tackle.
Mike
Wallace between two defenders.
The tradition continues.
He's to the end zone. Touchdown, Ole Miss. Breaks a tackle. He's gone down the sideline. Touchdown, Ole Miss. He is a beast.
Saturday, Ole Miss takes on Missouri. Pre-game coverage starts at 4 p.m. with kickoff at 6 on your home for the Rebels.
Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7 FM.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis, WIVG FM Tunica Memphis, and WPGFLP Memphis. Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Welcome back to Sports Time with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Dave Wolosian and Brett Norsworthy.
Come on, Muhammad, we hit fame. We busy with the deal, we get insane.
Welcome back to Sports Time with Wolo and Stats. Austin Eldridge filling in for you here today as Dave Wolosian is on his way to Philadelphia. He'll be joining us, however, in about 10 to 15 minutes from Philadelphia. Brett Norsworthy is in Columbia, Missouri, where Ole Miss is getting ready to take on the Missouri Tigers tomorrow. And we are joined now by Rick Horo to talk about the business of sports. You can follow him on Twitter at Rick Horo. And Rick, it's good to have you with us this afternoon. How are you, sir?
Doing well. We're doing well, Rick, and it has been quite the week. Jack Nicklaus used to say on the golf course, the biggest thing after you get in trouble is getting out of trouble. How does Adam Silver now get out of the trouble he has gotten himself in this week?
With a sand wedge through the trees, make sure that you find a nice opening and hit it in the fairway on the other side of the fairway. Listen, he's got to find a way to thread the needle between free speech and big business. And every corporation does that every day now with their employees. The only difference is the NBA is a highly visible business where everything that is said turns over any number of times on media. And the other difference is that the Chinese dollars are quick dollars and they're large dollars, and the NBA can't afford to instigate a reaction that is so quick from the Chinese government that they can call their state-owned entities and basically blow up business deals in a minute. And that's one of the situations that we don't understand about the Chinese system, but that's there, and you got to deal with it. And so I know Daryl Morey very well, and he's in the industry, and if he had it to do over again, he probably wouldn't push the send button. But yet you got to defend his right to free speech, but yet look at the consequences.
And there have been consequences for sure this week over the Daryl Morey tweet that he didn't even type. He sent out a tweet of a screenshot. It was not even his own words, and it has caused this for Adam Silver and the NBA. I think the worst, you tell me, Rick, do you think the worst fear could be if the Chinese market really evaporated what it would do to franchise values for the NBA teams?
Well, franchise values would certainly decrease, especially the New Jersey Nets, since Joe Tsai, a Canadian-Taiwanese businessman, just spent all of that money to buy the Nets and Barclays Center and basically Durant and
Kyrie Irving.
That whole process. Yeah, Kyrie Irving, but the whole process there. And so when you think about it, there's a lot at stake, and a lot more at stake than people would have originally thought. So this chapter is one in a very large and long book, and it hasn't been written yet.
What lesson do you think Roger Goodell and the NFL has learned from it? Because I know they are having meetings in a week or two, and one of the first things on the docket was maybe a preseason game next year in China.
Well, they got issues relative to what football is like in China from a business perspective. So their issues are a bit different. But to be honest about it, they've got a harder road to hoe than the NBA in China. You know, the NBA has made significant strides from Yao Ming and Tracy McGrady and Kobe Bryant. And I remember the NFL had some games, flag football games, et cetera, that were canceled a couple of years ago because of the lack of corporate support and some of the uncertainties of the business environment, which had nothing to do with, freedom tweets during Chinese 70th anniversary. But we'll see how that all ripples a couple of weeks down the road, and then when the preseason starts next year.
Rick, one of the other things that's going on right now, besides NBA, of course, is the Major League Baseball playoffs. And one of the more intriguing things for Major League Baseball this season was the YouTube deal, where the Major League Baseball and YouTube live streamed 13 games during the season and averaged quite a few viewers throughout that platform, averaging about 130,000 peak viewers. And one of the things that you mentioned in your weekly report was the potential for the numbers to rival MLB Network if they get more primetime slots. Is this Major League Baseball's move to appeal to the younger generation and get the numbers up watching baseball?
Well, it's a two-pronged move. One is clearly that the demographics have to be younger, and streaming is basically a younger activity with the devices instead of traditional TV. But second is you want to empower Amazon and some of the other streaming-centric networks to feel good about a high bid in the next bid cycle. So if you brought Amazon in, or for that matter, Facebook or Snapchat or any of those other companies that haven't been known as traditional bidders, and you brought them in as a joint venture with one of the traditional networks, or they do it on their own, what does it do? Well, it raises the bid price and rates for everybody. So they're trying to make sure that they have a whole lot of willing participants, and at the end of the day, their strategy will be to bring more people into the fold. That'll be higher rates for everybody.
And the Super Bowl this year will be in your backyard, in close to your hometown. It will be in Miami, and Super Bowl 54 has already started. Now, Rick, how good a party are you going to host at your estate during Super Bowl week?
Yeah, well, I'll bring some McDonald's hamburgers for my 3 or 4 friends, and we'll watch the Pro Bowl. In actuality,
just like going to the White House as a winning football team, you get McDonald's, huh?
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what. Between the Dolphins and anybody they play, we know that they're not going to be in the game, so we'll have some kind of a passing interest in it, but certainly not because of the home team. So there's a LPGA event that's moved from Indianapolis that'll be in South Florida, Pro Bowl week. There's a new renovated, or actually from scratch, new field development process that Cal Ripken's folks will be in, and they'll make announcements. There are some major events the Dolphins are going to do to celebrate 50 years of the sports business that I'm involved in. So this is an opportunity for all of South Florida to shine after many, many years of not having the game. There is now a roof, at least half a roof, on the stadium that cost Steve Ross basically out of his own pocket $400 million. And he believes in it. He believes in this process. And it'll be a heck of a event. And the other thing you got to remember is, last year was Atlanta, right? The year before, Minneapolis. And now we come back to a legitimate resort city. So there will be a lot of corporate activation, meaning golf and meaning events from the Pro Bowl the week before to the Super Bowl the week of. So a lot of corporations who have basically been on the shelf for the last couple of years get the right to entertain now. So that'll be cool.
And, Rick, we look forward to seeing you down there at the Super Bowl, and we really appreciate your time today. We'll let you go and get into the weekend. Where are you going to sports this weekend? You got something planned?
Yeah, I'm going to the University of Miami, lost to Virginia tonight. And then I'm going to do the Dolphins lost to the Redskins on Sunday. And then head over to Washington to see what happens with the NLCS, which will be kind of cool. And then Boston next week to see some Patriot stuff. So, yeah, I got a whole lot of sports going on, including a whole lot of bad football ahead.
Well, you enjoy that football starting tonight with the college team and into Sunday with the Dolphins. Rick, we appreciate your time. Thank you. Have a great weekend.
Thank you, Rick.
All right, man. You too. See you next week. Bye.
You got it. Rick Harrow talking the business of sport with us. This hour brought to you every day by DeSoto Auto Sales, where they have the high standards in the car industry, and they specialize in late model cars with low mileage. All the cars are test driven, checked out from head to toe, quite literally bumper to bumper, with an unlimited inventory at DeSoto Auto Sales. Every make, every model. If by chance they don't have it on the lot, they'll go out and find the car you want for you. No shortcuts at DeSoto Auto Sales. You walk into DeSoto Auto Sales, you're treated like family by kind, courteous employees, laid back, down home atmosphere. They do care about your time. They want you in and out, test drive your car, credit approved, all in about 45 minutes. They know we're living in a world today that time matters, and it's that simple. They want you in and out in about 45 minutes. Check out the referrals online at DeSotoAutoSales.com, 5704 Goodman Road, 662-890-7184. Again, DeSotoAutoSales.com on Goodman Road down in DeSoto County. Come on down to DeSoto County for that town and country experience at DeSoto Auto Sales. I know we're going to catch up with Dave momentarily in Philadelphia, where he is getting set to call the Tigers action tomorrow morning, 11 o'clock kickoff. I get to watch that whole game tomorrow, as we don't play until late tomorrow. Last week didn't get to see any of the Tiger game because it was almost coinciding with me getting busy last week. And it's the biggest game of the year for the Tigers, and not just because it is the next one. Dave is set to join us now. We go to Philly to talk to the voice of the Tigers about the game tomorrow against Temple, and we will have Isaiah Thomas join us in about 3 minutes. Good afternoon, Dave.
Hey, Dave.
Hey, guys. Good afternoon. Yeah, I think it is the biggest game up to now. You know, Ole Miss was the biggest game when they played then because it was the first game, and it's the Power Five down the road. Then I thought Navy was critical because it was the first conference game, and let's face it, that is a team Memphis has had trouble with, team in their own division. So, you know, that was big. But now this one sets up where if you win this, you'll definitely be favored all the way to the ninth game of the year. I mean, the odds are pretty good you'd be 8-0 to face SMU, a team that's at the moment ranked. And a game that we've talked about several times now could end up being, you know, a game where game day might come. If both teams are ranked, stay in the top 20, and both teams are 8-0, that would be a game, depending on what happens with Washington and Utah the rest of the way, or Florida and Georgia. That might be a site where they would think about coming and bringing game day. So in order to set that up, and this is really the critical juncture because Temple is really, really good, and I mean physical and a great defensive front, then, this becomes the biggest game of the year thus far.
And I don't know what our friend Richard Ransom knows, but he tweeted yesterday that he had it on pretty good sourcing, on pretty good information, that College game day, if both are undefeated, would be in Memphis on November 2nd. I hope he's right, and I hope they both stay undefeated. Well, we know one loss by either side would probably mar it. Maybe not, but it probably would, is that weekend. There's some pretty stiff competition out there around college football, but he tweeted that yesterday, and I hope he's right for the Tigers on November 2nd.
Don't forget now, Brett, he works for ABC. He's a big shot at ABC.
He does. And so very well sourced and a good newsman.
But before Isaiah Thomas joins us, and he's going to come on to pitch this thing called Churling Champagne, which he is chairman and CEO of Isaiah Imports, this is very cool. Anyway, it's supposed to be a healthy champagne. We'll ask him about that, and we'll ask him about the healthy relations of the NBA and China, or unhealthy. I do want to just touch real quickly until he calls on what was a really, really beautiful, special night at AutoZone Park last night, where the very first Memphis Sports Hall of Fame class was inducted, what they call the bicentennial class, but it's the first. You only get one first class, and they were all first-class people when you think about who was let in, between Keith Lee, who showed, and Penny Hardaway, who showed and stayed, and Avron Fogelman, and Billy Donovan, and even though he wasn't there, he's son of Representative Fred Smith. This Claude Humphrey, Verdi Sales, and, of course, Larry Finch and Vicky spoke so eloquently, and Ronnie Robinson, his wife, spoke so eloquently, and Jerry Johnson at 101 years of age got up and spoke, and they actually, there was a sort of a guy that I think it was a family member who was sort of helping him move along, had to actually say, okay, Grandpa or great-grandpa, whatever it might have been, you got to move, because he talked beautifully for a great period of time, and everybody was enthralled. It was a fantastic evening.
Well, Dave, we are ready to go now with Isaiah Thomas. I know you mentioned he was about to join us. He joins us now. Hello, Isaiah. Thank you so much for joining us today. And with I'm Austin Eldridge, and Brett and Dave are here as well.
You are welcome, and thank you for having me. How are you guys doing today?
We are terrific. By the way, I'm Dave, and I'm a Chicagoan, so I've always had an affinity. Well, I did have an affinity till your guys, the bad boys, were beating up on Michael Jordan and the Bulls way back when. But we forgive you for that. And now we're excited that you're in Memphis, and you got to tell me about this Sherlin champagne and this health nutrition part of it, because I found that pretty interesting as a guy who loves champagne. If I'm going to get healthier from drinking champagne, Isaiah, I'm all for you, man.
Well, as a fellow Chicagoan, and I am from Chicago also, so I am delighted to tell you about our Sherlin champagne. Sherlin champagne, I am 100% owner of the champagne. Also, equity partners with the NBPA, which is the 450 members of the NBA, the players, and most of us, as you know, are looking for something healthy to drink, something that goes along with our lifestyle, and champagne goes along with our lifestyle. Our champagne right now is called Sherlin Champagne. In Sherlin Champagne, we have 4 SKUs, 0 sugar in 2 of our SKUs, 5 grams of sugar in 1 of our SKUs. That's 1 gram per sugar per glass. And then we have a Rosé Bissanier that is one of the hottest selling champagnes right now in the country is Rosé. We have 200 acres over in the Aube region of Champagne, and the Aube region of Champagne is the oldest region of Champagne, which allows us to grow the Pinot Blanc grape. The Pinot Blanc grape is a very hard grape to grow in Champagne. We are fortunate enough to sit in that region, and only 0.5% of that region, of the Champagne region, grows the Pinot Blanc grape. So what we bring to you is we bring a champagne that doesn't give you a headache, is low in sugar or has 0 sugar and very low in sulfite. And it's one of the fastest growing champagnes in the United States, and we're delighted to introduce it to Memphis, into Tennessee.
I'm excited about it, to be honest with you. And if folks don't know, to be called champagne, it actually has to grow in Champagne, in that province. And otherwise it's sparkling liquor. And so this is really cool that we will have this conduit to get champagne in this new type of champagne in the Memphis area. How in the world, Isaiah, from being a player to being in administration, and I guess you were the owner and the CEO of the CBA, how did you get hooked up with this?
Well, I am probably what you're you're known as a serial entrepreneur. My first foray into entrepreneurship was actually the Toronto Raptors. I was a founder, co-owner of the Toronto Raptors, and when I left Toronto, as you referenced, I went into I stayed in sports and entertainment, and went and bought the CBA. Then there's a company called Popcorn Indiana. When you look in all your stores, you see that red bag of kettle corn that sits on the shelf. That's a company that I co-founded called Popcorn Indiana. Of course, I went to Indiana. Got you see the red bag, and sold that company and was looking for my next venture and went into champagne. When I looked at the champagne space, when I went over to France and I spoke with the family, quickly discovered that we were only getting second and third press of the grape champagne here in the United States. All of our champagnes are first press of the grapes. That means that you are getting the highest and finest quality of champagne that comes out of the Champagne region. We are capable of producing 1 million bottles annually. We're one of the highest producers of champagne, first press of the grape champagne that's in the United States, and we're very proud of the quality and what we're bringing here. We've been taken on by Southern Wine and Spirits as our distributors, and right now they're happy to distribute the product throughout Memphis, and we couldn't be more excited to basically debut here tonight and tomorrow.
And we know those folks in that place. You are working with great, fabulous people, and I know they're involved in the Memphis Food and Wine Festival, which will take place tomorrow night at the Botanic Gardens. And I believe, Isaiah, you're going to be there. Is that true?
Oh, Sherlon Champagne will be there. I will be here tonight at the Peabody. We're having a tasting here tonight, and we are displaying the champagne and pouring the champagne. And we'll also, tomorrow, the champagne will be available for guests and everyone else to come and enjoy the champagne and taste it and experience first press of the grape champagne, 0 sugar, low sugar.
Can't wait to try that at the festival tomorrow night. Well, we got you. If you don't mind, you are the owner of an international business, and you've been involved, as you said, with the Toronto Raptors. What do you think will end up being the outcome of this international mess between China and your beloved NBA?
Well, what we do know from our experience with sports is that sport has always been the natural healer in any type of conflict. And at the end of this, we do believe that sport will prevail in terms of healing and bringing people together as opposed to tearing people apart.
Do you still follow the NBA close? Do you still have any interest in any teams?
I work for NBA TV and also TNT as an analyst.
Right.
So I follow the NBA closely, talk about it every week on TV, as well as own Sherlon Champagne.
Do you think that the Grizzlies' moves that they've made with John Morant and Jaren Jackson, do you think this is a build in a good direction?
I love the foundation that they've built. I was actually with Jaren Jackson over the summer, and actually before the draft, and he couldn't speak more glowingly about wanting to partner up with John Morant even before they got a chance to draft him. He just thought that was the perfect fit for him, and I do think that the Grizzlies have a very solid foundation with those two players. Adding Valanciunas as a big man in the middle, I think will also help. But, when you talk about Jaren is, JJ is one of the premier, young players that is coming up in the league. And I said this before, in his draft class, when it's all said and done, I think he's the type of player that we'll look back, 10 years from now, and he will probably be one of the best players in his draft class, if not the best.
He is Isaiah Thomas. You watch him on NBA TV, as he said, TNT. And go try this new champagne. It is champagne. It will start to hit all the liquor stores in Memphis. You can try it at the Wine and Food Festival tomorrow at the Botanic Gardens. Shalom Champagne. Isaiah, you've been so kind to be with us. We appreciate it. Enjoy Memphis while you're here, and come back soon.
Thank you, Isaiah.
I will, and thank you for your time.
That is Isaiah Thomas, brought to you in part by our friends at Homer. Homer Skelton Hyundai, home of service, home of assurance. The best marriage of technology and, I think, service that you could get at any car dealership in Memphis. We start with that assurance. There's two of them. There's the Hyundai Assurance. That's the 10-year, 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty. Then, of course, there's the Shopper Assurance with transparent pricing, flexible test drive where you can take the car for as long as you want. Then when you buy, you're in and out. And the best part is if you have any buyer's remorse, nobody does this except Homer Skelton Hyundai, the 3-day worry-free exchange. Any buyer's remorse, you've got 3 days to change your mind and exchange the car. Wow. You got to go see it to believe it. And you will love it when you do. By the way, they got Genesis cars there as well. And that G70 is something special, and more product is on the way. Genesis is going to be a bigger and bigger name in this market, and Homer Skelton Hyundai is going to be a big part of that. Just get on Lamar, get into Mississippi. The very first exit's Craft Road. Turn left, and you'll see all the gang. Chris Drew's the GM at Homer Skelton Hyundai. I believe we got to take a break, and when we come back, we make some picks. It is going to be Friday football forecast. That's next on Sports Time with Wolo and Stats and Company.
Take Sports 56 with you on your phone or tablet. Download our official Sports 56 app today.
Upgrade your commute with Audible. Get 100% ad-free listening anytime, anywhere with the Audible app. Be inspired by Mel Robbins' Take Control of Your Life, Malcolm Gladwell's Talking to Strangers, and Rachel Hollis's Girl Stop Apologizing. Or listen to Stephen King's latest thriller, The Institute, on your commute. Use the app to hear an amazing story or learn something new, and let Audible give you the edge. Start a free 30-day Audible trial today, and your first audiobook is on us. Visit audible.com.
If you're going on vacation, making a college campus visit, or if business takes you out of town, there's just no better place to board your dog than Barks and Recreation, 965 Reddick Cove between Bud Davis Cadillac and the Blue Plate Cafe in East Memphis. Boarding, daycare, grooming, we have the best of everything at Barks. Indoor-outdoor kennels so your family member can go in and out as they please. Indoor and outdoor play areas. 4 walks a day. Group play and individual attention from the best staff in the Mid-South, which includes an overnight staff to ensure the safety and comfort of your pet 24 hours a day. All reasons to choose Barks and Recreation above all other boarding and daycare facilities. BarksDaycare.com or 509-0909. Check us out and make your reservations now at BarksDaycare.com. If your dog could speak, he'd say Barks.
You'll see the dedication in every single step. You'll see it in the smiles when smiles are hard to get. You'll see it in the little things that add up to success. The caring and passion are the things that we love best.
Wolf Chase Limb Brace is your Mid-South provider for orthotics and prosthetics. They are an ABC-accredited facility, and their practitioners are ABC certified. At Wolf Chase Limb Brace, their services include artificial limbs, legs and arms, braces of all kinds, and custom molded inserts. You can call them today at 901-507-7821 for their location on Highway 64 in between Germantown Parkway and Appling Road, or visit them at their new location in Jackson, Tennessee. That number is 731-660-5900, or visit them on the web at wolfchaselimbembrace.com.
Wolf Chase Limb and Brace.
Time for the Friday football forecast from First National Bank and Trust, a division of First National Bank of Eastern Arkansas. For real estate, commercial, ag, hunting, and recreational, contact them at fnbt.com or 901-498-5763.
Friday football forecast from First National Bank and Trust, a division of First National Bank of Eastern Arkansas. Real estate isn't something you purchase or develop or desire. It's something you appreciate, respect, and know. With real estate, there's no gray area. You either know it or you don't. First National Bank and Trust, a division of First National Bank of Eastern Arkansas, they've known it since their beginning in 1886. Clients depend on First National Bank because they know real estate. Brooks Winchester, Nick Sutton, and many more can assist you in your acquisition of that hunting land, farmland, a construction project. Let First National Bank and Trust make your dreams a reality. 775 Ridge Lake Boulevard, Suite 140 in Memphis, 901-498-5763 or fnbtmemphis.com. That's fnbtmemphis.com. For commercial real estate, residential construction, or recreational and agriculture financing, let First National Bank and Trust help you, a division of First National Bank of Eastern Arkansas, where I've had an account and been a friend my entire life.
3 big 11 o'clock in the morning games tomorrow. The Tigers in Philly, one of them. Mississippi State in Knoxville, another. And the first one we'll pick, the Red River Shootout, Red River Rivalry. 11 o'clock kickoff at Fair Park tomorrow morning. All time, Texas leads this series 62-47-5. This is big for Sam Ellinger in Texas. They won it last year, regular season. Dave, you up first. You pick this game between Boomer Sooner and Hook'em Horns. No downward horns, though. No downward horns, Dave.
I would never do that. That's my wife's alma mater, but I like Oklahoma here. Right. I like Oklahoma here a whole bunch. I just think Texas is too beaten up. And if they're going to run Sam Erlinger a lot, he's not going to survive. Sooners 48-28. 48-28 Boomer. I'm going the other side. I'm going to your wife's alma mater. I'm hooked. I'm horns up. Texas straight up 38-35. Horns win, and that puts into play not one, not two, but three from the SEC for the college football playoff. Austin, your pick. That would be revolutionary. That would make, if that occurred,
it would be revolutionary. It would be. It would cause a sea change.
Yep.
Well, I am not picking Texas to win, but nor am I going with Vegas on this one. I love this game. I mentioned to Brett, I wish I could go to this game. It'd be a lot of fun. I am taking Oklahoma, but they will not cover the 10.5. This one's going to be close, 42-35 in a shootout. Boomer gets the win.
Boomer gets the win. Texas takes the cash. So it'll be horns up and horns down for some. Drew, your pick.
I'm right there with Austin. My score is even pretty close. I got it 45-38, big shootout for the Red River shootout. Give me Texas to cover, Oklahoma to win.
You literally gave both teams an extra field goal. We almost had the exact same
pretty
score.
much.
Everybody out there walking a fine line except for Dave in the Boomer blowout. 11 o'clock. Dave on the call in Philly. Tigers at Temple. Temple freshman running back Ramon Davis leads the nation in rushing for true freshman running backs. 503 yards. Temple extended its streak of consecutive games, scoring at least 20 points to 17 last week. It's the fourth longest streak in FBS. Number one's Oklahoma, two's Ohio State, 3 Clemson, 4 Temple. That's good neighborhood for Rod Carey's football team. First year as head coach of Temple. Tigers trying to stay undefeated and move up in those polls. I'm taking the Tigers to win a grinder. 20-14, Tigers win and cover the 5.5 by a half point. Austin?
Well, this one is so hard for me to pick. Temple is the toughest test that Memphis has faced yet. Ole Miss is better than they were when Memphis played them. I think Temple on the road is going to be the toughest test they've faced. I like Kenny Gainwell. Be curious to see how Brady White responds in a closer game than he's had to deal with so far. I like the Tigers to win, but Temple squeaks in a cover, 28-24 Tigers.
Drew?
Well, depending on my score, it really just depends on if we are 100% sure that Patrick Taylor won't be playing today. I know that this week was the target date. I'm not sure if he did travel with the team today. I'm sure Dave can let us know after I give my pick. But I'm taking the Tigers with the points, 30 to about 21.
Tigers laying the points. Dave, you're on the call tomorrow in Philly at Lincoln Financial.
Patrick Taylor did travel. I don't know if he's going to play. I wouldn't count on that totally. I will tell you this.
You just made Drew excessively excited, by the way, Dave. I want you to know that. He jumped out of his chair.
Well, I wrote the score to you this morning, Mr. Norsworthy, incorrectly. And by the way, so the streak would end by your prediction. You're saying they're only going to get 14. If you look at that streak, you see how many times they scored, like 20, 21, 22. It's not like they score that much, although they've got three receivers that have over 300 receiving yards already. And I think that's the only one in the American that's got that kind of diverse passing game. I like Memphis in this game. It is going to be a ground-out game. It's that 5.5 line, and I got them barely just making it. I like the Tigers, and I like them to cover 27-21. That's my plan.
We all like the Tigers to win. 3 of the 4 of us like the Tigers to cover. Bruce Marshall picked Temple straight up to win the game earlier from the goal sheet. In Knoxville tomorrow at 11 o'clock. Mississippi State, a 7.5-point road favorite. I like State to win the game, but to stay inside the number. State wins 24-21. State wins the game. Tennessee wins against the point spread. Dave?
I like Mississippi State, and I like them to cover. It'll be about a 10-point game, but I like State to win. You've got a freshman quarterback that now has been game planned for, and I think Mississippi State, even though it's in New England, has enough.
That's a great point about game planning for that freshman. When the book builds on players, it's easier to defend them. Austin?
This one, last time I had a Tennessee pick, it was against Florida, and I made the goofy decision to pick Tennessee to cover the spread. That one did not go in my favor. Florida a better team, though, than Mississippi State. I think Mississippi State is going to go. I picked them to win this game from the start of the season. I'm sticking with it. I think they will win, and I think they will cover, but it won't be by much. I think Mississippi State takes them down 31-21.
31-21. That's enough to cover the point spread. Drew?
State wins, covers, and Vince Ferrara's colleague from the Animals sleeps on the roof again this week.
He's on the roof again. LSU at home tomorrow night, 7 o'clock. College game day there. LSU a 13.5-point favorite over the Gators. The Gators with a big win last week at home against Auburn. I think it will be similar to that game last week. In fact, my score is right in the same neighborhood. I have LSU covering the 13.5, winning 28-13. Dave?
I've got LSU winning this game handily. Well, I shouldn't say handily. The line's 13.5. I've got them winning 31-17. So I think they win. I think they cover. I think Florida is a good team. Don't get me wrong. Look, you got to go back a while to get a 6-0 Florida team. They should have lost to Kentucky. I've brought this up several times. This is in Baton Rouge at 7 o'clock at night when everybody's tanked. LSU 31-17.
Drew?
I'm taking LSU big. I think they win by 20-plus points. Give me LSU 42-20.
Okay.
I feel a group lock coming. Austin?
Baton Rouge, night game, Tiger
Group
Stadium.
lock.
That's all I've got to say about this one. I was wrong about Florida last week. I was the first one to admit it. I thought they would lose to Auburn. Auburn with a true freshman quarterback is not the same thing as going into Baton Rouge, taking on Joe Burrow and this LSU offense. 28-10, LSU does expose Florida for a somewhat average team that I think they are not that good as their record suggests, and LSU puts it on them 28-10.
College football lock and shock time before we get to NFL games. Dave, you first with your college football lock.
I like BYU at South Florida. I think this team is quit on Charlie Strong. I really do. BYU, it's only 5.5 they got to give up. If you look where USF has lost at home, how badly, BYU 31-21 in this game.
You only have to give up 4.5 as that line moved later last night, and that's what we're going with. Drew?
Dave stole my pick. Give me BYU minus 4.5 over South Florida and everything he just said.
Could we have a rare group lock on the college football lock pick? Austin?
No, we won't. College football lock. Put it on the board. Take it to the bank. Alabama destroys Texas A&M in College Station. Texas A&M, mediocre, average at best. Alabama is not about to go into College Station and lose to a ranked but shouldn't be ranked Texas A&M team. 49-21, Bama.
Whoa, I agree with everything you said. Wake Forest is my college football lock, laying the 6.5 over U of L. Wake Forest really kind of where the Louisville program once was. Louisville trying to get back to it. College football shock, I'm going to go with USC plus the points, not to win outright, but plus the points tomorrow in South Bend. USC plus the 11.5 is my college football shock. Austin?
My college football shock, I guess it's not much of a shock. It's only 13 points, but give me Hawaii plus the 13. Not a straight-up win, but Hawaii plus the 13 at Boise. Boise wins it, but in a close shootout, 42-37.
Drew?
Man, Austin, that's a great pick. Y'all know how high I am on the Hawaii Rainbow Warriors, but I'm going with probably the biggest underdog of the week. Give me UConn plus 34.5 points at Tulane. It's 5 touchdowns.
Never take UConn.
Tulane will win by 32.
Oh, my.
And I will get the 3-point cover.
He took UConn.
He did. Dave.
Wow. Bold. My
was
shock,
bold.
Iowa getting 3.5 at home against Penn State. I do think Penn State's good, but so is Iowa. You're giving me 3.5 points in Iowa City? Come on. Iowa.
Good pick, Dave. And Iowa didn't get there for me last week. With your luck, they'll get there for you this week. NFL, noon on Sunday. Seattle favored 1.5 in Cleveland. I'm going to take Baker Mayfield and the Browns to respond from the ugly Monday night game. Browns win straight up 24-17. They don't need the 1.5. Dave?
I am not a Cleveland believer. I told you last week. I'm telling you again this week. Give me Seattle. All I got to give you is 1.5. I'm taking Russell Wilson. Goodbye, Cleveland.
Austin?
I'm with Dave on that one. Russell Wilson, my guy. I think he's the MVP right now of the NFL as far as to this point in the season. Seattle wins this one 24-17.
I feel like everybody's against me here, Drew. Is that right?
That is correct. Everyone's against you. Give me Russell Wilson and the Seattle Seahawks.
Y'all don't make me paranoid. I've never really had any psychosis.
Brett, you've had this lead. Those kinds of picks, they're damaging.
Oh, and I know you hate that. Kansas City at noon favored 4.5 over Houston. I'm going to take Houston straight up upset in Kansas City over the Chiefs, 28-27 Texans. Austin?
I'm not going to take the upset, but I am going to take Houston and the points. I think this is going to be a great game. Boy, I love these two quarterbacks. They are fantastic. 35-32, Chiefs pull it out.
The future of the league in this game on display. Dave?
I love Patrick Mahomes, and he's at home. He's got. Now, I think Houston is a terrific team. I do, but I think it's a good game. Kansas City is not going to lose again at home. They're going to win this game 30-21.
Drew?
Kansas City, they don't lose twice in a row. They're going to win at least by a touchdown.
Boy, so it's the Ole Miss boys against the Tiger boys. We know how that worked out 6 weeks ago, don't we, Austin?
Yeah, it didn't work out so well for us, Brett. That's not a good omen.
Hey, do y'all realize 6 weeks ago tomorrow was Tigers Ole Miss opening day of football? 6 weeks from tomorrow will be Ole Miss and Tigers at FedEx Forum in basketball. NFL locks and shocks time. Atlanta minus 2.5. My lock over Arizona. They win big. They win easy. Austin?
I think you just took Drew's pick there, Brett, judging by his reaction. My lock of the week is the fighting Jimmy Garoppolo's. They're going to stay undefeated, plus the 3 straight up. They beat the Rams 27-24.
You get a half because we don't push. Drew, did I do it to you?
You did. You took my lock. I like Atlanta minus the 2.5 at Arizona.
Dave, your lock?
My lock is Dallas. They're going to take the New York Jets on in New York. I get that, but they have to be smartened from last week. They're going to put a hurting on the Jets.
And your NFL shock is what, Dave?
I like the Saints. They're in Jacksonville. Your Jacksonville Jags. New Orleans gets a 1.5 against that Jacksonville team. I like them straight up 24-17.
and this is exactly how I expand my league with my Jags. They're my shot.
The Gardner Minshews.
Minus 1.5 over New Orleans. Jacksonville wins straight up 27-24. Austin?
My shock is another straight up upset. Give me Detroit plus the 4 against Green Bay. Detroit beats Green Bay and Aaron Rodgers 24-21.
Drew?
Sorry, give me a second. I'm just having to flag the tape where you actually said my Jags real quick. That way I do have I have the evidence. You're welcome.
Flag that son of a gun.
I did. I've got it saved already. But my shock, and I'm glad Austin took it as his lock, give me the 49ers plus 3.5 at the Rams. I'll also go straight up.
Hey, look at there. But hey, I didn't steal your pick because that was my lock and it's your shock, so we're good.
We're good.
Great job, guys. Great job. This has been brought to you by First National Bank and Trust, a division of First National Bank of Eastern Arkansas. For real estate, commercial, ag, hunting, and recreational, contact them at fnbt.com or give them a call at 901-498-5763, a division of First National Bank of Eastern Arkansas, First National Bank and Trust. Austin, I know you've got a boogie to your high school game. Great job. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, fellas. I got to go. Hernando taking on Lewisburg tonight, so I got to hop, skip, and a jump down that way. Always enjoy it with you guys, and enjoy your weekend. Dave, have a great call tomorrow, and Brett, have a good broadcast as well. And go Tigers, go Rebels.
Thank you, Austin. And we come back, Dave. We want your comments on last night. A few more comments before we get into crutch time on last night at the Hall of Fame festivities, especially the interaction I know you had with the great Tim McCarver. You're listening to Sports Time with Wolo and Stats on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 96.1, and 87.7 FM.
The Peter Edmiston Experience with C.J. Hurt. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10. Only on Sports 56, 96.1, and 87.7.
How you doing, people? And if you're in the market for a new Chevy car, truck, or SUV, new or pre-owned, see my guys at All-Star Chevrolet in Olive Branch. They will treat you like a star. It's simple as ABC. A is the All-Star Challenge to beat any written offer from any Mid-South dealer, or they buy you a tank of gas. B, better buying experience. They value your time and make it quick. C, customer care. They want you to be an All-Star family member for this car or truck and all the other ones you'll ever need. And before you head to All-Star and Olive Branch, check out the inventory at allstarautogroup.com. Silverados, Equinox, Traverse, Impala, Camaro. They have all you ever need with the best Chevy lineup ever. So don't go to Collierville, the Pike, or South Haven. Find new roads to Olive Branch and All-Star Chevrolet. Minutes from anywhere in Memphis, or go to allstarautogroup.com. Just mention you heard about them on this station and you'll get a Malco movie gift card when you test drive any All-Star Chevy you want.
Fall is fast approaching, and you know what that means. Time to start thinking about covering your pool. The best way to protect your pool, your loved ones, and your pocketbook is with a safety pool cover. Mario's Pools on Exeter and Germantown has the best advertised price on all pool safety covers, solid and mesh. Keep your pool looking great year after year. A safety cover requires less maintenance, saves money on chemicals and water, prevents standing water, and extends the life of your liner. Call Mario's Pools at 552-3399. That's 552-3399. Or just walk in and see him in Germantown on Exeter Road. Plus, he specializes in pool closings. Mario's has an A rating with the Better Business Bureau. Check out his reviews on Facebook. Protect your investment. Call Mario's Pools today. 552-3399.
I Buy Houses, 901-406-1101. That's 901-406-1101. I Buy Houses. I Buy Houses will buy a house in any area, in any condition, and yes, it's guaranteed to close in 5 days. If you need to sell your home quickly, call 901-406-1101. If you've been through a divorce, if you lost your job, if you're tired of renters, I Buy Houses can get you your money quickly. I Buy Houses will buy your home in Shelby County, DeSoto County, Memphis, Bartlett, South Haven, Horn Lake, Olive Branch, anywhere and everywhere in between, in any condition. And yes, they're open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I Buy Houses, 901-406-1101. That's 901-406-1101. Grab that pen, 901-406-1101. I Buy Houses.
You have to be up in 5 hours. 2 hours. 6 minutes, and you haven't slept a wink. ZzzQuil Pure Z's is a drug-free blend of botanicals with an optimal dose of melatonin, so you can fall asleep naturally and wake with no next-day grogginess. So tonight, try new ZzzQuil Pure Z's from the sleep experts at Vicks ZzzQuil.
Welcome back to Sports Time with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Dave Wolosian and Brett Norsworthy.
We welcome you back in, Brett, in Columbia, Missouri. I am in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Drew in the Flynn Broadcasting Center. And, of course, the Family Leisure Studios in Memphis. And this final portion brought to you in part by Campbell Clinic. You know, there's high school football games. You know, sometimes kids, even in recess in grammar school, they get hurt. It's just a part of growing up. Who are you going to go see? You're going to go see the place where they have pediatric orthopedic doctors. There's only one place in town, Campbell Clinic. Nobody else has any, and Memphis has 6, Campbell Clinic does, 6 in Memphis, orthopedic pediatric doctors. So if it's an injury in football or it's growing pains, you want a specialist for your child, don't you? There's only one place in town, and that is Campbell Clinic. So I mentioned, Brett and Drew, how beautiful it was last night at AutoZone Park, and what a jewel it is. And I got to give Craig Unger and Peter Freund and everybody that's involved there a big tip of the cap pertaining to trying to make this a 365-day-a-year ballpark between the baseball games and maybe a concert here or there and 901 FC, and now they're going to have this hall. And unless there's a sporting event, this very first Memphis Sports Hall of Fame, which will be interactive, it will be free, right on the 3rd floor, right very close to where the press box. In fact, some of the press box is going to become now a part of this Hall of Fame. I think you're going to find it very interesting. In essence, it will be a sports museum and a Hall of Fame, and I think it's really going to be special. Then afterwards, Brett, I must confess, I got to go to the Rendezvous and hang out with Tim McCarver. And coming up, I will tell you what I learned, or one of the many things I learned from my dinner with Tim McCarver last night. But before we do anything else, we got to get to crunch time.
This is Geraldo. It is crunch time. You are looking live. It's crunch time. In your life, have you seen anything like that?
We'll take questions again for the student athletes at this time, please.
He's a professional. He's pretty classy for his age.
In the crunch time, that's the frustrating part.
Little Penny could make some appearances this year.
Okay, I'm not huge into stats.
Has it always been this way?
It's crunch time, so I got a different mind state.
What's happening, big dog? How you doing?
Is this thing working?
Immediately when the buzzer sounds, he lets out this shriek.
You throw those ears forward, and he was in stroke mode.
This is stupid. It's obviously crunch time.
Time for Taco Bell Crunch Time. Taco Bell, home of the crispy tortilla chips, topped with a double portion of either seasoned beef or shredded chicken, plus refried beans, nacho cheese sauce, reduced fat sour cream, guacamole, and a 3-cheese blend. Nachos Bel Grande, heaping portion of chips, topped with ground beef, tomatoes, beans, nacho cheese sauce, and a dollop of sour cream. Taco Bell, home to great food you get on your way home real fast, and they bring you crunch time every day.
All right, guys, before I tell y'all what I learned today, I got to get your ALCS picks. I think the Yankees in 7. Dave, your pick.
I go with the Yankees in 6.
Yankees in 6. Drew?
I want to be different, but I'm not going to be. I'll take Yankees in 6 as well.
Yanks in 6 for both of y'all. I learned today that tomorrow could be the best day of the year of college football so far, but all those top 10 matchups look like the favorites will win, but 1 or 2 upsets and a couple of jockeying in front of the Tigers. Tigers win maybe this 5 or 6 spot vault easily into the top 20. What'd you learn today, Dave?
I learned actually last night from Tim McCarver what a treasure he is. Do you realize he played in 3 World Series? He broadcast 24 World Series.
Wow.
Tim McCarver has been involved in a very dramatic fashion in 27 World Series. There's no one like that. Nobody else, even any commissioner.
Dave,
nobody.
I know you've
been involved.
I know you've learned it being around him. True Renaissance man. That mind, that memory, that recall, those stories. He is something to behold. Could have done without today.
Well, he loves Edmund, by the way. Loves when he's at third and not Carpenter, who's got a questionable arm. But just thought I'd throw that in.
I could have done with that today. I'm just not that comfortable with 3 out of 5 series in baseball. I don't want to play until Christmas, but I think I'd be more comfortable with everything being 4 out of 7. I know the rest of the way it's going to be 4 out of 7, but 3 out of 5. I don't know if we really produced the best teams out of that, but I'll take it. What is it you could have done with that today, Dave?
I agree with you. By the way, I could go with best of 7. We're adding 2 games. It's only in that series. It's 1 series. I'm with you. I learned today coaches have, or could do without. Coaches have failed on 20 of the last 21 challenges for pass interference. That new rule that everybody was so high on. There have only been 7 reversals on 41 challenges. Mike Tomlin may have said it best. He and the rest of the coaches have no feel on the way they're really calling this play. I think, personally, the rest don't like it, and you're not going to win your challenges. It's crazy.
Dave, since you've got the early game tomorrow, we're going to let you scoot a little early. You have a great weekend, and look forward to seeing you Monday in the studio. Thank you, sir.
I'll be there.
You got it. Dave Wolo on the road with the Tigers, calling all the action bright and early tomorrow morning in Philly. I will keep a close eye on the Tigers' offensive line against the Temple D front. I think that's where the game will be won or lost tomorrow. Brady White will have to be good in the pocket, not on the scramble, if the Temple D front pushes him out of the pocket. State and UT feels like must win for both in that game. Ole Miss and Mizzou didn't have this in the preseason. John Rice Plumlee against Kelly Bryant. We sure didn't have that a year ago, but it could be from Fayetteville High School in Fayetteville, Arkansas, the backup Taylor Powell playing for the Mizzou Tigers. Red River rivalry. We got SC and Notre Dame. Baseball gets started tonight into the game 2 tomorrow for St. Louis. The American League Championship Series tomorrow as well. NFL bright and early on Sunday morning. First game at 8:30. Last game ends about 10:30 on Sunday night. So that's about 14 hours of NFL football on Sunday. We'll have most of it on Westwood. We'll also have the Blue and Gray show on Sunday night. And, Drew, I hope you guys are talking about a remaining undefeated Memphis Tigers team.
I hope we are as well, with Gabe Kuhn and former Tiger punter Spencer Smith in studio this week.
And John Stacy making sure it all goes off well. He'll be on the phone with you guys, right?
Yes, he will be on his way back from Philadelphia.
And a lot of Tigers fans will be heading back on Sunday. It has been a fun Friday. I want to thank everybody that joined us today. Austin, great job. I know he's headed to his game. Dave in Philly, but thank you to Bruce Marshall in Las Vegas. Thank you to Peter Edmiston talking with us about the NBA and the Grizzlies. Glenn Rogers down in Florida. We covered a lot of states today. Glenn Rogers down in Florida with the open date for MUS. Also to Rick Harrow down in Florida as well. And Hall of Famer Isaiah Thomas, thank you so very much for joining us and him being in town for a great event tomorrow night that I know a lot of people will be going to. Drew, thank you so much. For Drew, for Austin, for Dave, I'm Brett from Columbia, Missouri. I'll be back on these airwaves tomorrow at 4:00 with Ole Miss pregame with Richard Cross. Everybody have a safe, great weekend. We'll talk to you on Monday on Sportstime at 3:00.
There's a new commissary in town in Collierville. Germantown Commissary is doubling. Yeah, they're still going to have the old Germantown Commissary by the tracks, but now there's a huge new Germantown Commissary in Collierville at Poplar and Houston Levee Road. It's huge, too. There's a drive-through. There's plenty of parking. No telephone pole to get in your way. A cool patio. It's right by the track, so the tradition continues. And this is a tradition that's been around forever. That commissary is famous for hickory-smoked, slow-cooked Memphis-style barbecue. They've got a private party room at the new one in Collierville. Self-catering still continues. Party packs for $5.95. Basically, the great ribs, the great pulled shoulder, the great deviled eggs. Everything is there in Collierville and Germantown now. So there is now a Germantown and Collierville style of barbecue. It's called Germantown Commissary.
Hey everybody, this is Coach Penny Hardaway. There's a comfort in being home, and to me, comfort food and family makes Memphis the place to be, along with having the best basketball fans in America. I like pulling into court